We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma.
This hour is brought to you by the Harnish Auto family.
Give me a freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
Brock Heward and Marcus. Sorry about just Mike.
On Seattle Sports.
Heward, not exactly Joe Cap there in the pocket.
Presented by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
All right, let's get going today on the Brock and Salk Show. Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com, and the Seattle Sports app. Plus all the podcast platforms, all of them everywhere. I see some of your late night texts that come in from those who are listening to the show. A little tape delay. Appreciate that. Thank you for continuing to communicate. I do see them, even if you send them much later.
Just like Mike Blowers. You're listening.
I'm always listening. I'm always reading. I'm always there, ready for you guys. Unless you send it during the afternoon, and then I'm probably asleep. So let's see. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to start off. We have a lot of guests today, but I'm going to start talking hockey right off the bat. Yesterday was a big day for the Kraken. I was talking to our editor on seattlesports.com, and Brent was telling me that the two biggest red stories yesterday on the site were about the NHL and the NBA. How about that? Weird day. Off day for the Seahawks, and the Seahawks in the middle of nothingness time, and off day for the Mariners. So Kraken moves and the potential sale of the Celtics and how that affects us here in Seattle kind of became the two big stories yesterday on the website. So I'm going to jump right in on the Kraken. Two huge moves yesterday, right? They bring in a big-time defenseman in Brandon Montour and a center in Chandler Stevenson. Do you like it? Off the top of your head, do you like it? Well, not really. I'm kind of split on this. I look at Montour as a clear upgrade. He is a top-tier defenseman. He's one of the, he's a clear first-rung defenseman. He can provide a little bit of offense, right? So the idea of pairing him with Vince Dunn, two guys who are fairly offensive-minded, if that's the pairing you decide to go with, makes some sense. If you want to drop him to, your second pair and keep Adam Larson on that first pairing to try to cover for maybe some Vince Dunn defensive lapses, okay, fine. You could do that and then pair him either with Dumoulin or Alexiak. So, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. And you've taken a strength, your defense, and I would say that your defensive core is the strength of this team right now, and made it better. I like that. It's not necessarily the top move they needed to make, but they took their strength and made it stronger. So hopefully what this means is they're going to be a team that is known for its defense. Okay, fine. I like that part of it. Montour I get. I don't get Stevenson. I really don't. I don't see what the logic is here, spending a ton of money, 7-year deal for a guy who's 30 years old and really has never produced all that well. You're not talking about adding one of the premier players in the league. When we've had conversations about spending big money to bring in big players, it's like, okay, well, go after Steven Stamkos. He's a franchise-changing kind of player. I know he's older. I know he's had injuries. I know he's not the player he once was, but at least he once was. Go after, we've talked a million times about the guys with the Leafs, and maybe they're open for trading, maybe not. But they've got too many players that are really, really good that have not amounted to much of anything in Toronto. Well, if you want to make a change, go bring in players that are going to significantly change who you are. And then I look at the numbers for Chandler Stevenson, who is slotted in to be either your first or second line center, depending on how you view Beniers and what he kind of grows into this year. And I see a guy who doesn't play a tremendous amount of defense, okay? That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And is not really a great point scorer. I mean, you look at it, he's never scored more than, I think, 65 points in a season. He's never had more than 21 goals in a season. He only did that once. Last year, this guy's coming off a 16-goal season. Now, I know goals are a little harder to come by on a Vegas team that was pretty good, but I'm sorry. His
assists are up there, though.
They're good. right? In the, 40s, 50s?
But you have been saying a goal.
35 last year, 49, and 43 the years before that.
And you've been saying a goal scorer for
That's not
3 years.
That's not an elite number. He's never approached 100 points. He's never approached 80 points. Yeah. So I'm not sure I fully understand what the thinking is behind Chandler Stevenson. If I look at what they've done, the one sort of through line for Ron Francis seems to be that he likes guys with some championship pedigree. And I'm sure there's some value to that.
You guys got 2 cups, right?
But we've seen that, and between these guys, they have 3. Obviously, Montour just won a couple of weeks ago, and Stevenson's got a couple. He's got one in Washington. He's got one in Vegas. And that's been, Andre Burakovsky, right, had one in Colorado. Gord had them in Tampa Bay. Like, he has clearly looked. I think Schultz had one when he went after him. I don't remember whether Dumoulin's won a cup or not, but that has been kind of a theme for Ron Francis, is he likes guys that have won before, which is, I think, has value. There is value to bringing in winners, especially in this game that requires sort of an understanding of how hard it really is to reach the top of the mountain. There is value to bringing in veterans like that who have the championship pedigree. But at a certain point, there's also an element of, well, it worked for them, maybe it'll work for us. Well, this guy seemed to help them, maybe he'll help us. Rather than, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What kind of team do you want? And I'm not sure I see these 2 moves as being indicative of what kind of a team they actually want to be.
One side note that Ron Francis added yesterday, too, is that kind of that you almost have to sign these big free agents to 7-year deals now. And he said if you're going to have to sign a 7-year deal, he wants guys who can skate. And he said both of these guys can skate.
Well, that's good. But I'd also like guys, who can score.
I know.
Right? Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to make some moves in order to free up enough of the cap space to make this work. And so, I don't know what that looks like. If it was me, Grubauer would be the first guy out of town and Andre Burakovsky would be following him. But, it's not me. I don't get to make those decisions. But those would be my first 2 options. Like, all right, guys, goodbye.
What was
nice to have you here, but you're going to be moving along.
Was it yesterday or last week? You said you like teams that follow their stated philosophy.
Say yesterday.
Yesterday, okay. Do they have a stated philosophy?
I don't know what it is.
Know it in any way?
I've not ever really understood what this team wants to be. At the beginning, when they've had their most success, it was because they rolled 4 lines deep. That they weren't the strongest team at the top of the roster. They knew that and said, okay, we're going to be the deepest team around. And we're going to beat you by just coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And whereas your first line is probably going to have an advantage, our third and fourth lines are going to have an advantage. Okay. Like, is that a likely way to win a Stanley Cup? No, probably not. But is that a way to make yourself better than the people around you? Yes. Is it a way to capture a burgeoning hockey market? Probably not, but at least it wins some games. At least it brought some excitement for a short period of time. And then they abandoned that last year. They abandoned the team that had Sprong and some of those guys on the fourth line that were better than everything else that was out there. I don't know. Maybe that works out better this year. I mean, you look at sort of their expected lines as of today. This is what Cap Friendly has. And, all right, they're still looking at keeping the first line together, Beniers, McCann, and Eberle, maybe. And then a second line of Stevenson, Schwartz, and Tolvanen. That doesn't scare anybody. Third line becomes Gord, Cartier, and Bjorkstrand. That's good third line. I like that. And then a fourth line of Shane Wright, huge question mark, and probably the biggest question about this team, with Burakovsky and Tanev. That's sort of a thrown-together line of a scorer, a fast guy who doesn't seem to do much, and Brandon Tanev, who's really more of a third-line checker. So, like, what is that fourth line? So I kind of look at that, and I see, well, you've got one line that is pretty good, your third line. Your first line is subpar because Beniers has not played like a first-line center, and McCann is probably a pretty decent first-line winger. Eberle, at this stage, to me, first, second line, kind of depending on what it looks like. Your second line is not particularly impressive at all. Your third line's good. Your fourth line is a hodgepodge. Does that sound like a team that's improved itself after spending a ton of money in free agency and is now looking to go win a cup? I don't see that. I do like the defense. I do like, all 3 pairings of what you've put in the back end, and maybe that's enough. But overall, good day. I mean, like, better than doing nothing. I like that they're being active, but I really hope we're not sitting here in 3 or 4 years going, geez, Chandler Stevenson is just Andre Burakovsky part 2. Like, what? I hope there's something there. Maybe there's more in there than either the scouting report or the statistics indicate. So I'm open to it. It's not like I've watched the guy play and come away thinking, oh, this is terrible. I've not watched him play with any eyes on him ever before. But I just look at it and say, I don't, just based on the logic and based on the numbers, I'm not sure I understand what they're doing. All right, take a quick break. Come back. We'll give you guys everything you need to know as the Mariners start another very difficult series tonight. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
That baby is out of here!
Every strikeout,
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Bryce Miller caps his day of 7 scoreless.
every home run,
Goodbye baseball, he did it! Julio Rodriguez!
every Mariners win.
And Mitch Haniger, just like the old days! He wins it for the Mariners in the 10th inning!
Stream every game at seattlesports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
It's the Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Some serious 4 days of values you'll never see again. The biggest brands with staggering prices. 4 days only, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
At Buc-ee's, we'll keep you ready for summertime. From factory maintenance, AC, brakes, tune-ups, to oil changes, wiper blades, and tire rotation. It's Buc-ee's Complete Auto Repair. Carefree summer driving. No appointment needed and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the Buc-ee's near you.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
You want to talk about this part? You really want to do this?
I do.
You really want to get into this?
Yeah, I got some questions.
All right. Well, I got answers.
The Brock and Salk Show is brought to you every day by Simply Seattle.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Summer's here. Now's the best time to transform the exterior of your home or business with a fresh coat of paint. But it can be time-consuming if you do it yourself. Do what I did and call the pros at CertaPro Painters. Ursula Roytine here. CertaPro did a fantastic job on our home. We were so happy we had them do a second project. Now it's your turn. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters. That's CertaPro.com.
This hour is brought to you by the Harnish Auto family.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
We'll see how the moves work, but the Kraken are not going to take their lousy season lying down since the disappointing year come to an end. They've obviously fired their coach and now spent a whole bunch of money on 2 of the top free agents available. Now, as for those 2 guys, we'll see. Defenseman Brandon Montour, centerman Chandler Stevenson, about $93 million on 2 players who will be here for a long, long time. 7-year deals for each. Both a little surprising, maybe for different reasons. Montour, a really good all-around player, moves the puck well, can shoot from the point, developed into a very strong physical presence. Did they need to get better on the blue line? No, maybe not the most critical spot, but I do like them trying to be great at something. As for Montour, he's just happy to be here.
You know what? There's a lot that went into it. You know, one real reason, you know, I felt the love. You know, that management, you know, that group of players, you know, seeing how loud and how, you know, passionate that fan base has been since, you know, they've been a part of this league. And there's no reason not to be excited about being a part of that team and what they have going on. And, you know, you know, the love, that it was all about the love. You know, they want me to be a big part of what they have going forward. And that just excited myself and my family.
Wow, there you go. So it's all about the love. Easy to be, right? When you feel loved, it's easy to want to be somewhere. I wonder what it helped him feel the love. You think it had anything to do with the amount of money that he was being offered? I don't know, just a guess. Stevenson, a little bit more of a head scratcher. He's an offensive player. He has not exactly lit up the stat sheet, though. Just 16 goals last season. He's never had more than 21 goals or 65 points in his career. But both players do have one thing in common. Recent Stanley Cups. Montour just won in Florida. Stevenson did it both in Washington and in Vegas. That has been a theme of the past couple off seasons. And here's Ron Francis with more.
You know, we think with the addition of Montour, that's an offensive piece on the back end. He's playing 23, 24 minutes for a cup-winning team. Brings the Stanley Cup into the locker room with him. And, you know, and Stevenson, just a really good two-way guy, plays with pace, has, you know, sneaky skill set. So, you know, brings 2 cups into the locker room as well. So they checked a lot of boxes, and we're excited to add them to our roster.
We'll see whether it works. Something tells me there's still a couple of small things to be done, although Francis said yesterday his big moves are now pretty much done.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Mariners may not be playing their best right now, but the schedule sure isn't going to take it easy on them. Yes, they do get to stay home after the day off, but going to battle a Baltimore team that when we saw them last month looked like one of the best in the league. We know they can hit. Gunnar Henderson making a run at the MVP award. Anthony Santander and Adley Rutschman, both big stars right now. In fact, every regular on this team has an OPS over 700, except for the still dangerous Cedric Mullins. That's it. Everybody else 700 plus. And they also recently called up that prospect, Heston Kjerstad. He has been awesome. OPS near 1,000 since being called up. You may remember he was a reported target of the Mariners this past offseason and maybe a Brian Wu or Bryce Miller deal. He just got called up and has been hot to begin. Anyway, you got to limit that lineup. You also need to score some darn runs. Aaron Goldsmith thinks that it wouldn't take a ton for that to happen.
If the Mariners can find a way, truly, to continue to impact the ball with as much quality as they have this year through half a season, but just do it a smidge more because it doesn't need to be a top 10 offense. Hover around league average and you're going to go to the moon. I mean, the Mariners have had a winning month every month this year. Let's remind ourselves, the Mariners are in first place and they have been in first place for like over 70 days, right? So just get that little percent better offensively. Give yourself a little wiggle room on a nightly basis with the pitching you have. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're going to hear a lot more from Aaron coming up here in about 10 minutes. Grayson Rodriguez, George Kirby will get things started for the series tonight. M's now only 3 games up on Houston after the Astros just pounded the Jays last night. I guess the silver lining there is the Blue Jays losing, which is something you want to see before the trade deadline, but yeah, that's now 10 of 11 wins here for Houston.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
What is going on in the NBA and what does it mean for us here in Seattle? Yesterday, reports coming out that Wyc Grousbeck is planning to sell his controlling interest in the Boston Celtics. Now, he's owned that team for 2 decades and has won a pair of championships, including one about a week and a half ago. One of his minority partners, though, is David Bonderman, who, of course, is the majority owner of the Kraken and is considered the most likely future potential owner for a new expansion team here in Seattle. So it's a little confusing trying to figure out whether or not Grousbeck is selling or whether or not the entire ownership group is selling. Depending on which report you read, you can kind of read it either way. And I think it's the whole ownership group, which would mean Bonderman would be out of his deal with the Celtics and free to pursue anything here in Seattle, which of course was never going to be a problem anyway. He could always sell a minority stake, but just a little interesting. The other question is, why are 2 of the league's top owners both selling here within the last year? It's one thing in Phoenix where they essentially forced that sale, but why have both Mark Cuban and Wyc Grousbeck, 2 of the better owners in the league, both decided to get out of the NBA? The reports are that for Cuban, it was just a valuation thing, and he's like, it's too good to pass up. And for Wyc Grousbeck and his father, it has something to do with estate planning, but something doesn't quite smell right when 2 guys of that stature both exit at the same time. The league is also about to sign a mammoth new TV rights deal, so that's going to bring in more revenue and the 2 expansion fees they're likely to bring in. What's going on?
Like what are they seeing?
I'm going to guess it has something to do with RSNs. And again, they're not quite as tied up in the RSN issue as baseball teams are because they do have the national presence that they do with all of the national TV deals. But each team still has a local RSN thing. And if they're not going to bring in any money, maybe that's not enough to offset the additional expenditures and also how the revenue is going to be split 32 instead of 30 ways. I don't know. Just seems a little funky.
Both selling really high, though, right?
That's true. That's everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Yes, they're only selling high if you think that it's not about to continue to go up, right? I mean, like, obviously Grousbeck's going to make an unbelievable amount of money. They bought the team for like $330 million, something like that, and they're going to sell it for well over $4 billion. So that's a pretty decent return on your investment in 22 years or whatever it is. Like, yeah,
wow.
That's sports ownership's a pretty good gig if you can get into it. But yeah, I am a little curious as to why he would want to. I mean, you could sell for $4 billion now. You can't sell for $8 billion in a few more years. Like, what? Do they think this thing is about to end?
What did you mean? What did you just mention about estate planning?
There's supposed to be some level of estate planning. His dad has got. I mean, Wick's in his 60s. His dad Irv has got to be in his 90s. So I would think that that's the report, and maybe even that's what was in the press release, that there's some level of estate planning going on. But I don't know. Still just seems a little funky to me. Okay, coming up next, I mentioned Aaron Goldsmith. He nearly got himself in big trouble on this show yesterday. You will hear it next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
You know him, you love him. John Morosi is here.
If you were worried about the front office not properly diagnosing what needs to be addressed with this team, fear not, because this road trip made it very, very clear. The club right now, it's not a complicated situation. At the trade deadline for this team, with all the strong pitching they've got, they simply need to acquire some bats who don't strike out as often.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, it's basically summer, and I promise by the end of the day today, or maybe even, let's call it Thursday, it is going to be legit hot out there. And if it gets hot, is your AC running a little too often? Maybe that's because your windows are not energy efficient enough. Because if yours are builder grade, or if your windows are 8 years old, the seals are probably broken, air's probably leaking out, and you're paying the price in high utility bills all year long. Well, Window Nation has high-quality windows that are built to last a lifetime. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you will get 2 windows for free. And yes, those are quality windows by Milgard. There is no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more. 0 down, no interest or payments for 24 months. They were recently ranked #1 on Forbes' list of best window installation companies, so you can trust Window Nation for high-quality, affordable windows. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or at windownation.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
With free delivery on over 2 million items, you can make the most of summer grilling and dig into gardening. Plus, get same-day delivery on thousands of products like power tools and storage to tackle any last-minute garage project. Summer your way with 4th of July savings from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Kick off summer by checking out the incredible showroom at Toyota of Kirkland. With a wide selection of Camrys on the lot, including the brand new 2025 Hybrid Camry, along with the new inventory of Tundras and Tacomas. All with a lifetime powertrain warranty, you're in for a summer to remember. The unbeatable team at Toyota of Kirkland will set up your test drive, and you can take that car home the same day. Get your summer groove on at Toyota of Kirkland or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Driving safely is all about the little things. Like stopping for folks who are crossing the street, even at unmarked crosswalks. Making plenty of space for people on bikes. And choosing to wait for the next green light by slowing down and stopping on yellow. Because when you're driving, you're the biggest and fastest on the road. And that means you gotta be the safest too. Together, we get there. A message from the Washington Traffic Safety Commission.
Brock and Salk's Rewind is presented by Toyota of Kirkland.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Good Ranked coming up today at 9:45. Very excited for that. Justin and I were working diligently behind the scenes to get Ranked ready for all of you. And then a little 9 o'clock football conversation, Brock.
I know, I'm sorry. You were hoping for Titus. Titus decided...
I'm a little bummed out. I'm a little hurt.
Well, do you want to come up? No, what are you doing after the show? You're not golfing.
I'm taking a nap.
No, what are you doing?
I'm taking a nap.
Why don't you come up north?
What do you mean up north?
Tell him what to do.
When you
gave your kid the choice,
Justin,
don't you tell kids?
Justin, what are you doing after the show?
I'm going to go to a Fremont Coffee House and do his little computer work.
What do you mean up north? Where does that? What is up north?
Just
mean?
Woodinville.
Woodinville?
Yeah, you can get in the batting cages.
Woodinville's like another area code. Like it's nowhere near here.
Do you want to go hit? You can hit a little bit.
I don't want to hit at all. No.
Why not?
Because I'm leaving for Bend tomorrow. I'm going to play some golf while I'm there. I don't want to mess up anything before I
It's
play.
been so long since you've played golf.
Right.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, it's been since Friday, and I don't want to mess anything
Theatrics.
up. All right, enough of this. Let's get Aaron Goldsmith on the horn. Aaron, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning, guys. You sound like you're having fun.
You know what? We're arguing this morning, and I think Brock disagrees with me. You probably do too, but that's okay. I'll throw it out there, and you can tell me what you think. I was upset to see Luis Castillo start yesterday. And I'll give you my reasoning, and then let you react to it. I just believe that if your organizational philosophy is all about the importance of your pitching staff, and for the most part, anytime you've been given an opportunity to give those guys the extra day of rest, you've always taken it because you understand the long-term effects of trying to keep those guys healthy as healthy as possible for the stretch run. Why was a game in June so important to you that you needed to bump everybody up in the rotation? And if it was that important to you, then why wasn't Castillo bunting? To me, you got to go one way or the other. Either don't let him play and say, give him the extra day, start Diaz and say, hey, look, if we lose the game, so be it. That's what happens. It's a fifth starter. And if you are going to start him and say, hey, this game's so important, we're going to move everybody up one, then do everything you can to win and let the guy bunt.
Wow. Let's just get right after it, guys.
Let's get right to it. What do you want to do? You want to talk about how they can't hit for an hour and a half? Like, we've covered that. Let's do something new.
Well, I think I was okay. In all seriousness, I was with you for a little bit. Not that I necessarily agreed, but I understood your line of thinking. But then you lost me on the bunting conversation.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I think that is for anyone else who echoes that belief. I think that's asinine. I don't mean you, Mike, although in this case it is you, I suppose. You can never convince me that Luis Castillo's at-bat determined the game yesterday.
Oh, I don't think it did either. And by the way, I would not have had him bunt. I don't think Luis Castillo, it's not worth it, which is why I wouldn't have pitched him to begin with. I would have given him another day off.
I mean, I understand the thought of, because we have seen organizationally the Mariners make decisions here and there, right, when they can, to help to fortify their greatest strengths, right, to help their rotation, just give them a beat. But I think I would have understood if they went that way, but I also understand the thought process of, hey, he is your ace, he's your big guy, he's been here before, and he can pitch on regular rest, and he's going to be okay. And let's kick this can down the road and see if there's a place like the All-Star break coming up where he can get a little extra extra time down.
But hold on, it's not just him, but it's all of them. It's not just Luis who goes on regular rest. They'll all go on regular rest rather than getting the extra day of rest. So it's also Logan and George and Bryce. I mean, everybody misses out on that extra day now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that the All-Star break is almost upon us would be something that I would look at. You do have more off days now coming up going into – not that there's this abundance of off days, but you're not in this stretch of whatever it was, 30 and 31 or something like that. I think it's perfectly well thought through to wonder why they might not give their rotation an extra day. Because Mike, in your defense, we have seen the benefits of it, right? I mean, we have seen what happens with a really good rotation when you give them just that extra day and that shot on the arm that it gets. But because of the way the schedule is and the All-Star break beginning to loom a little bit, I understood it. They had a chance for a series win with their opening day starter on the mound, and unfortunately didn't work out.
Is Luis 100%? As you look at his stuff, and I know you love all the extra numbers, and Goldie here with us, and because Luis sitting 97 or hitting 97 with the changeup and everything else is devastating. Luis at 94, 95, still incredible, but not nearly as devastating. Are my eyes seeing anything over the last 2-3 starts where it's been a little more 94, 95?
You know, one thing that I guess I've really learned in the last year or two, and I guess to answer your question directly, Brock, I don't know anything about his status, good or bad. I don't believe anything is wrong with him. But one thing that I've learned watching kind of the same group of 5 starters, right, for 2+ years now in some cases. One thing I've taken away is that even for these elite level starting pitchers, guys who are all-stars, right? Kirby last year, Castillo last year, probably Gilbert this year, guys with massive credentials, there still is variation in stuff. It's 30-plus starts a year. And I think the people like us, who have normal jobs where it does not require this max effort form of production and performance, we can't totally understand why every 5 days when you get up on the mound, why isn't your fastball 97 every time? Why isn't your slider break the same every time? That's the way pitching is. Not every guy is going to be exactly the same every time. And sometimes you're not going to have great stuff and you're going to get a little lucky and things are going to bounce your way. Sometimes you're going to have your best stuff and you're going to get tagged and maybe it's performance or luck and it's not going to go your way. But it is, I've been right there with you before, Brock, with any 5 starters where you look at them and you go, man, okay, it's like the fastball isn't quite the plus fastball today. And I'll say it. I will oftentimes reference it in the broadcast when I see it because I notice it like you have noticed it, where you're like, whoa, okay, Gilbert's throwing 98 today. He's feeling good. Like, it's working. Like in Miami, Gilbert was throwing 98, right? And we've seen Gilbert sometimes throw 98, and it fades to 97 by the 6th inning. Like, he just keeps that plus velocity. And other times we see Kirby come out and touch 99 in the 1st inning on a full house on a Friday night, and by the 5th, he's sitting 95, right? So there's variance to all this, and I don't Can it potentially mean something? Yeah, sure, it can potentially mean something, but it also can mean absolutely nothing. So
you like when Mike says he throws his best fastball at whatever the highest number is. That's one of my favorite Blowersisms. Every time the guy throws his hardest fastball of the night so far, Blowers goes, his best fastball, 96. I love it. Like I wait for it every night.
It's because he charts every pitch on a yellow notepad in the booth and marks every velocity down. No, it's not.
I didn't think it was true. That didn't feel true, but he's just charting it in his mind. He doesn't need to write any of that stuff down. He's just got it all upstairs.
That's exactly right.
And every time he's like, his best fastball, 97. Like makes me laugh every time. We know we talked for a while earlier today about Oswaldo Diaz being in to work with Julio. Obviously, the early results have not shown anything yet, but he's going to be here all week working with him all throughout the homestand. What do you make of that decision to bring him in here for a week?
Yeah, I think this is a situation where you're just trying to do anything you can, right? I do feel like, although I don't remember seeing Oswaldo before, but I do believe I'm about to say don't quote me, but I am doing a live interview. I do feel like he has made visits before in the past. He has seen Julio in the season. That's kind of the sense that I have, at least. But whatever they can do, right? It has been in many ways a lost first half for Julio. Like that's just where we are right now. And maybe the All-Star break is exactly what he needs. I wonder how much with Julio it is just he is a microcosm of the bigger picture, and that is how do we simplify things to the purest form, and how do we let Julio feel like a little leaguer again, right? How do we let Julio walk up to the batter's box feeling free? You know, to me, the most defining Julio at-bat this year that makes you go, man, okay, this is what it can be like, and this is what it has been like, to be fair to Julio. When he hit that home run off of Mason Miller in Oakland, right, we all remember it. It was 102 miles an hour up in the strike zone. You can count on one hand how many guys on the planet could do that, and Julio's one of them. But when I watched that at-bat play out, Mason Miller was coming right at Julio with nothing but fastballs. You know, Mason Miller has a slider, right? But I think everybody in the ballpark that night got a sense of like it was mano a mano right here. It is Mason Miller versus Julio Rodriguez, power on power, and Mason Miller is just staring down the barrel to Julio and saying, you cannot touch my fastball. So what was Julio doing? He wasn't processing, all right, now I'm in a 1-2 count. I'm behind. I got to watch out for the slider off, right? No, it was like he's coming at me with 100+ every time. Gear up for the fastball. And he fouled it off, and he fouled it off, and he timed it up, and he timed it up, and then bang, he clipped it. And it went out at 102 miles an hour from the arm and 105 off the bat or whatever it was out to center field for a home run. Like when Julio's free mentally, those things can happen. And I think that's how do you get Julio free again? I don't know, but hopefully somebody can figure it out.
There's probably a little more meat on that Julio bone here in just a second, but we also have chatted a time or two over the last few years, Aaron, about strikeouts and the strikeout rate and the strikeout percentage and leading the league once again this year, unfortunately, in strikeouts. The team that did it last year was just in here. Minnesota last year, I believe, set the all-time Major League Baseball record in total strikeouts as an offense last year. Am I correct on that?
I know they had the second highest strikeout rate in baseball compared to the Mariners.
Yep. And I think in total strikeouts, they set the all-time record last year. This year, they're 10th. 10th best, right? Like 21st in strikeouts in the league. So they have kind of flipped that script. We know through personnel and conversation that was going to be some of the plan for the Mariners as well. Like, okay, we can't strike out at the rate we did in 2023. So we're going to kind of mix it up and do some new things philosophically, management-wise, personnel-wise. How has Minnesota flipped that script and Seattle still finding itself battling that strikeout rate?
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult storyline from that series, and I know I brought it up a couple of times on the air, and it was not an easy thing to discuss because we all knew what was going on. I talked to Rocco Baldelli about it when the Mariners were at Target Field back in May, and at the time, I believe the strikeout rate was better for the Twins. It definitely was better than what it was last year, but it wasn't quite as good as it is now. They made roster overhauls just like the Mariners, and the Twins continued to make roster overhauls. Some Mariner fans remember Edward Julian, who has been a Mariner slayer since last year. Their kind of platoon lefty hitting second baseman. He's just crushed the M's. Well, he's struck out, 33, 35% of the time this year, and they sent him down to AAA. They had the roster ability to fill his void at second base, and they moved him down and told him he's got to work on some things. And their roster enabled them to do that. So between that and they've had a couple of guys actually this year that they have sent down since the Mariners last saw them that were struggling with strikeouts. So that's part of it. The other part of it is where they are right now. They are coming off of a month, guys, where they had in June, they had, I believe, the second lowest strikeout rate in baseball. And they had a roster of 9 guys in a lineup, and 7 of them were white hot. I mean, they just the ball was a beach ball to them this month in particular, and I think that really helped. Now, that's not saying like it's magic and pixie dust. Like they all got smoking hot, and credit to them for it. But they've been on another planet right now, which has amplified the fact that they have struck out less this year. There's no doubt.
If Mitch Garver's going to miss some time, and we don't know yet whether or not he is, but he got plunked on the wrist, so let's assume he's going to miss at least 10 days. Would you do the safe thing and bring up Sebi Zavala? Would you do the slightly more interesting thing and bring up, is it Michael Perez, who they brought over in the Baumann deal? Or would you do the very interesting thing and give Harry Ford a 10-day shot just to see what he looks like?
Well, I mean, let's face it, the real meat of that question is Harry Ford, right? Because nobody's heard of the other guy. I think I've been watching Harry casually from afar, like a lot of Mariners fans. I have no idea where he is at mentally and physically to handle something like that. I can speak about the organization with full certainty in this regard. They would never make a short-term decision like that would harm the long-term, right? It would not be worth calling up Harry unless you really had conviction that he could handle it. Because, in some ways, you think like, oh, maybe it is only 10 days or 2 weeks, depending on what Garver's situation is, right? But still, I think one of my biggest takeaways in recent years, listening to Scott talk and others in the organization, is that just one of the bedrocks you have to have is you have to be able to put your players in a position to succeed, whether that's on a night-to-night basis, a pinch hitting decision to make, or more of a longer runway like we're discussing. So if they felt like he was ready for that, I could see them. The Mariners have made more jumps from AA to the big league than maybe any other org in the last 3 or 4 years, right? Yep. It's very much in their DNA. But if he's not ready for it, it's not worth the long-term consequences, whatever that might be.
What's Goldie do on an off day?
I think we're going to get a little family breakfast out. Kids want some pancakes this morning.
Nice.
I offered to make them, of course, but that's not nearly as much fun as paying for them.
Right.
And, I have not inflated the paddle board. Is it going to get sunny enough later today for the paddle?
Supposed to be, yeah.
Will it be warm enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So might knock that out for a little bit. A little yard work, a little grill later tonight.
Now, do you go over to Blauer's house most off days? Is that you get the standing invite to head over to Blauer's?
Down in Roy. You take a right at the Roy Y, and you see his place.
Is that something that's a normal off-day activity?
I mean, I'll be honest. I prefer not to have to fill up my gas tank twice to go make dinner someplace. So I don't want to spend $100 on gas to go get dinner at Blauer Power's house. But if he ever did invite me, I might be so taken aback and starstruck that I might just have to pony up, pull out the plastic, and maybe get the gas at Costco first. I don't know.
It'd be hard though. You'd show up and he'd be out on the golf course, not there. So it'd be an awkward dinner view with his family. While he's out.
And I'd have to leave at 11 o'clock in the morning to make it there by 6. So wherever it is that he lives, it would shoot my entire off day.
And then he'd watch Aaron eat, and when Aaron took the best bite of steak, he'd say, "That's the best."
That's his best bite right there.
You know what I'm going to do? How mad do you think he would be if when I when I notice the guy's best fastball if I jump the gun on him and said, "Oh, blow."
You should.
That's the best fastball today. What do you think?
Well, the fear you have, though, is that he hears this conversation and now stops saying it, like he did with the.
Oh, Mike! That's so humble of you to think that he's listening.
Well, I don't think he is. Let's be clear that maybe it gets back to him somehow from somebody else.
Okay, no, that's a good save on your part. Good save. That would require talking to some people that would be listening. I would roll the dice on that one.
Okay.
I'd roll the dice.
Okay, last thing, serious.
I'm not done.
baseball question.
I had a serious baseball question.
I got one, so I'll go into the serious one. All the numbers that you look at on a nightly, daily basis, and I'm sorry I missed you the other day. Doggone it. You look so good in the dugout. You had to go do your work. You went up into your office. All the baseball savant time. Give me the most encouraging number to a Mariners fan looking at this offense going, it will turn. This thing will turn. When the weather warms, this thing will turn. There are some encouraging signs, be it barrel rates, be it hard hit rate. Give me something to chew on that a Mariners fan, as summer looms here on Thursday, they can feel good as the weather warms.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to a few people around the org about this. It is just mind-boggling when you look at some of the numbers around the Mariners that are so. I mean, people are going to say they're going to yell at the radio right now, but they're so good, and you wonder how can this offense struggle as much as it is. The Mariners right now are third in baseball in hard hit rate. The Orioles and the Braves are the only two better. The Mariners they're tied with the Yankees, and they're a smidge better than the Dodgers in hard hit rate. In terms of barrel rate, Mariners have dropped a little bit, but they're still top 10. They're seventh in baseball. I mean, they are above the Twins, believe it or not. And the teams ahead of them, it's the Yankees, it's the Orioles, it's the Dodgers, it's the Braves. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. And the Mariners have dropped a little bit in home runs. They're just outside the top 10. But if you look at quality of contact and what you would perceive to be damage, it's like, man, you are putting the ball in play with authority. I would never believe that a team that makes that kind of quality contact struggles as much as they do to consistently score runs. But it comes down to the one hole in that swing when you talk about hard hit and barrel, and it's Evan White, right? It's like, okay, well, Evan White hits it harder than anybody and barrels it better than anybody, but it just doesn't happen that often, right? He just has a lot of swing and miss in his game. So if the Mariners can find a way, truly, to continue to impact the ball with as much quality as they have this year through half a season, but just do it a smidge more because it doesn't need to be a top 10 offense. Hover around league average, and you're going to go to the moon. I mean, the Mariners have had a winning month every month this year. Let's remind ourselves, the Mariners are in first place, and they have been in first place for like over 70 days, right? So just get that little percent better offensively. Give yourself a little wiggle room on a nightly basis with the pitching you have. It'd be amazing.
I feel better now.
Do you?
Gosh,
well, then let's just quit there. I was going to ask him about Polanco, but that's just going to be depressing. So let's just end there. He didn't have anything positive to say. So let's just
pancakes, fluffy buttermilk pancakes, some slabs of bacon. Go get it done.
Oh no! Oh wait! Breaking! I just got a text from Blower Power. Oh my gosh! This was all on the record too. I don't know. Guys, I can't explain it. Do golf carts get AM radio?
Is this?
He probably has the Seattle Sports app downloaded on his phone.
Is this theatrics like Salk polls?
Are you being real right now, or is this theatrics?
No, I have my contact photo of Mike is him in an Expos uniform, and it makes me so happy when I see that little mug of his with the mullet. And yes, he. Now, in very Blowers fashion, all he texted with no punctuation, it was just, "I'm listening."
Well, all right. Let's end there then before we get ourselves in any trouble with Mr. Blowers, because that's the last thing any of us want. Aaron, thank you as always. Have a good rest of your off day, and we'll talk later.
This might be our last time together, guys.
Maybe.
It's been really nice. It's been really nice.
Well, we'll just say this was your your best appearance here on the Brock and Salk Show. All right, there you go.
You
There's
guys
Aaron.
enjoy your off day.
Thank you. You too. All right, some fun with Aaron Goldsmith, and that turned into a whole thing yesterday. Man, Goldie tweeted the picture or the screenshot of the text from Blowers. I know that might be a little nerve-wracking, right? Tweeting out somebody's text to you, like making it public. On the other hand, there's 0.0% chance Blowers knows that that's on the internet. So I feel like he's probably safe.
When he told us he got a text, he said that he was okay to share it.
Oh, okay.
I thought he said that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say that he's okay.
No.
All the text says is I'm listening.
I mean, he was already on the record with what he was saying. He's probably just like, well, whatever. Let's
Yeah,
just pay off. Let's pay this off.
Go all the way on this. So, all right, there you go, Mike Blowers. You never know when he might be listening, and be very careful what you say because he could text in at any moment. All right,
hilarious.
We got a whole bunch of stuff today. We got, speaking of Mike Blowers, friend of Mike Blowers, Dan Wilson is going to join us at 7:30. We haven't talked to Dan forever. At 8:30 today, of course, we have Jeff Passan, and at 9:30, Lyle Goldstein is going to join us. He's hosting the show on Friday, part one of the Marine Layer guys. So stick around. There's a lot of fun.
Also John Forsland at 9.
Oh, did I leave that out?
Yes.
John Forsland. I'm sorry. John Forsland will join us at 9 o'clock to talk some Kraken and the moves they made yesterday. And because today is my last show before July 4th, you can look forward to everybody's favorite rant coming up a little bit later. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
A 4th of July without the Bud Sidewalk Sale is un-American. So here we go. Consider it our garage sale for golfers on the top brands. Unthinkable prices with exceptional value. And it all starts Thursday at Bud's.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Shane Company loves Seattle so much, we decided to open another jewelry store in the area. Come say hi at our new South Center Square location in Tukwila. Shop our beautiful selection of fine jewelry or stop by our new Create Your Own station and make something one of a kind. You can also step into our pop-up radio booth to share a story about your jewelry for a chance to be featured on the radio. And of course, you can still visit us in Linwood too. We can't wait to see you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. Your home's foundation supports everything that sits on top of it. You know, the most common cause of a settling foundation is a condition in the soil called differential settlement. It goes back to inconsistent soil compaction when your home was first built, which in turn causes your entire home to bend and twist. And what you'll notice in your home when that occurs, sloped floors, bowed or cracked walls, or windows and doors that don't open and close properly. R&R Foundation Specialist raises and restores settling foundations by repositioning the load of your home onto steel piers that they drive deep into the ground. Then they gently lift it back into place with a hydraulic lift. It's a permanent solution to restore your home's foundation and its structural integrity. If you suspect your foundation is settling, do what I did. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free. They'll identify the issue, and they will resolve it. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
Window Nation can help beat the heat in your home with a buy two, get two free offer on insulated, energy-efficient windows plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Schedule an in-home estimate now at 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Ooh, what a dinger. Man, I miss our days playing ball, but ever since I turned 40, just thinking about taking a lap around the bases makes me tired.
You ever think lower testosterone is the issue?
What are you saying?
After 40, the body has less testosterone, impacting your drive. That's why guys like me take Nugenix Total T to keep their energy up.
Nugenix really works for you?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I feel great. Getting up early for workouts. I'm focused, energized, getting things done at work, in the gym. I even feel more passionate in my relationship.
How do I give Nugenix a try?
Send them a text for a complimentary bottle.
Text CASH to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text CASH to 321-321. That's CASH to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Get his freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
I don't read the internet, guys.
Take the bull by the hands.
On Seattle Sports.
And Brooke, you are. And Brooke, you are.
Styled by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Eward and Mike Salk.
Every once in a while, one word can perfectly sum up a situation. Just one word in this case. And I'm going to give credit to Jake Wittenberg, our friend from King 5, who just used this word, and it's perfect. Perfect. Just one word. But it's embedded in a tweet of his.
Okay.
He says the Orioles are in town as the Mariners nurse a 3-game AL West lead right now. Yes. Nurse is the perfect word.
Yes.
It really just perfectly sums up where the Mariners are at, what they're doing, where the season is right now today. They are nursing a 3-game lead in the AL West. And if you had said to start this year, hey, on July 2nd, the Mariners are going to host the Orioles. They're going to have a 3-game lead in the division over Houston, 8 games over Texas. You'd have signed up for that immediately, right? Absolutely. Of course. Yes. Sounds good. They're having a great season. I'm in. They're 8 games over 500. They've got a 3-game lead over Houston. And Texas is just on the verge of bowing out of this thing. Yeah. 8 games under 500, 38-46.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do I sign up for that? But when you had a 10-game lead just a couple of days ago and the Astros looked to be dead and buried early, and now all of a sudden they've won 10 of 11, it doesn't have quite the same feeling as if I had just given this to you on March 25th or whatever the first day of the season was. So nursing is probably a pretty good word to describe where the Mariners are at, especially as they've now dropped 4 straight series without being swept in any of them. But honestly, I'm trying to figure out which of those 4 series they should have won based on the games being played. I don't know. Like, it's not like there was one giveaway game where you're like, all right, well, they were better than that team. They just didn't win that one game.
One of the Tampa games kind of felt that way. They
maybe a little. Okay, maybe they should have won one of the 2 losses in Tampa, but they probably should have been swept this past weekend by Minnesota. Or this past week. So I don't know. I don't.
Cleveland.
It all kind of has. It's felt right.
Yeah.
So
But nursing.
The nursing thing.
The nursing.
It makes me think of when your friend's nursing their beer and you're like, so are we the people that are like, are you going to finish this or what?
I mean, I think that's kind of right.
Come on, Mariners.
And I'm glad you went towards nursing a beer and not like a baby nursing, because
No,
that's not necessarily how I thought of this whole thing.
No,
but
I've been that guy where it's just going down like cement.
Yeah, it's the end of the night. It's been a little too long. Yeah, you know when that happens is anytime that you've tried to party during the day.
Yep.
And then
Fire the
been
jets
like,
back
I'm
up.
going to be fine tonight.
Totally.
Like, no,
Or
I'm really
we
not.
were just talking about Vegas that Sunday. Get back to the airport, and you're like, I'll just do one. It's like,
What?
it's just
Why would you ever think that at the airport? No, you would never think that. You get to the airport and you try to like be as still as humanly possible. They are sort of nursing this thing. So that's fine. When things aren't going well for you, which is where they're at right now, you got to nurse. And then you've got to come out of it. And when you're done nursing, you're going to have to do something akin to what Houston just did. You don't have to win necessarily 10 out of 11.
Feast.
But you're going to have to feast. That's exactly right. You nursed, then you feast. And it's coming. They'll have another stretch here where they feast. They will. Maybe it'll be 10 of 11. Maybe it'll be 8 of 12. I mean, like, I don't know what exactly it will look like. But this is a down stretch for them, and they will bounce back, I think. Right? I mean, it's 3 months into the season and they're 8 games over 500. That's not an accident. I don't think they're on the verge of collapse, but there are some things that just, need to go better. And I do still think that they are limited in a few different ways. The lineup is still limiting. There's still too many guys in this lineup that are non-threats to the opposing pitcher. I think it was Morosi last week who said it very well by saying they got too many guys in this lineup that are similar. There's not enough variety in the lineup. And I think we're seeing that on a day-to-day basis. Again, missing cookies. When you get the opportunity and that one pitch of an at-bat and they groove something for you, you've got to take advantage. And too many times this team does not. They foul it off, they miss that opportunity, and they don't get another one, and then they end up striking out. The strikeout doesn't happen with 2 strikes. The strikeout happens earlier in the at-bat, and what happens at the end is just the end of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just the fait accompli after you've screwed up on the 1-1 count or the 2-1 count, whatever the opportunity was to actually take advantage. And then the last one, of course, is Julio, because without Julio, it just doesn't really matter. The biggest positive of this season is that they've done all of this without their star best player playing like it. If he does, when he does, I don't know what the right word is right now. You should have another of those stretches where you feast, where you do something akin to what the Astros have just done. And oh, by the way, the Astros will cool off. They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're certainly not a win 10 out of every 11 games team. That would make them the best of all time. And they've got some issues and some pitching and some problems with their, health, etc. So they'll cool off a little bit. I think they'll still be in it, but they're not going to be this good for the rest of the year. So we'll see. I remain reasonably hopeful without feeling like gung-ho positive today. Is that fair?
Of course. But the fear is if Goldie said that the first half was lost for Julio, that you can't feast without Julio. And
well, the first half is lost.
In the second
But
half.
now we're on to the second half.
Sure.
Yeah, now we're on to part 2. And hopefully Julio is able to come out of this. Yes, the sequel. I should point out that today is July 2nd, which means I'm sure many of you are making preparations for your big July 4th long weekend. Plenty of people get July 5th off now as well, so it's great. You get the Thursday, Friday, 4-day weekend deal. I love it. I love the 4th of July. It's one of my favorite holidays. I love that it's just a celebration of America. I love the fireworks, going to fireworks displays. I love the barbecues and the feasting around it. I love the 4th. But the dumbest thing in the world are at-home fireworks. And I know that there are people out there thinking I'm crazy. You're wrong. There is not enough upside in the at-home firework to warrant the risk factor that accompanies it. And don't tell me you get so excited over, it's dumb. It's really not that great. You want to go see fireworks? Go to a fireworks show. Go to T-Mobile tomorrow night. against the Orioles, game 2 of the series. Go watch professionals put on real fireworks, set to music. It looks great. Go to, where do they do it for the 4th? They do it at
Ruston Way.
Huh?
The waterfront Tacoma. The Ruston.
Yes, they do it there,
Family
and also
Fourth.
in Wallingford, right, at Gasworks. So you get a couple of options if you want a big fireworks show on the 4th. Go see that.
Downtown Bellevue.
It's awesome. Real fireworks are tremendous. It's great. Their simplicity is what makes them great. They don't have to be, modern and technological. It's just cool to see them one after another in a grand stage, and they're set to music. It's awesome. Doing it at home is the dumbest thing in the world. Don't do it. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. You are risking the health of your own hands, the safety of your children and your friends and the people around you. You're bothering the neighborhood dogs and their owners. There is no upside to the and by the way, that's like 10 times faster than anybody can let them off. It's like once every 90 seconds or so, you get one little stupid explosion. Dumbest thing in the world, not worth the risk at all. Don't do it. And if you are going to do it, for God's sakes, be safe. Don't blow off your hand. Heather used to work in an emergency room, and yeah, every July 4th, idiot after idiot would come in with hand injuries.
My best friend lost an eye.
It's the dumbest thing in the world for no payoff. If you're going to lose an eye, at least lose an eye over something that's worthwhile. Cool. This is not worthwhile. This is a stupid little cheap thrill that isn't worth the risk at all. So please be safe this year. Be smart. Have fun. And don't light off the stupid fireworks at home.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike 3.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Summer's here, and it's time for you to put yourself in the game. But you don't have to do it alone. Come visit the incredible showroom and the all-star team at Toyota of Kirkland. With a large selection of over 70 brand new Tundras and Tacomas on the lot, you'll be able to test drive one and take it home the same day. And don't forget about that lifetime powertrain warranty. Now that's how you become the MVP. Come in today or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com. toyotaofkirkland.com.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
But I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
It's time for Cookies Country Chicken gift card giveaway. Celebrate National Fried Chicken Day with cookies. That's real good chicken. 3 lucky winners, 3 $100 cookies gift cards. Enter today at seattlesports.com/win. Hurry. Contest ends July 21.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and child care, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Waze Lifestyle at Chidi Stadium. Tickets are going fast, so get yours today. The Seattle All-Star Softball Classic features your favorite athletes and celebrities and benefits several local 501c3 organizations. So come out and support a great cause. Tickets start at just $25 with food, drink, fun, and games for the whole family. To buy tickets and for more information, visit SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to wish you a happy Independence Day. The 4th of July is my favorite. It's about family, gratitude, patriotism, and amazing exploding lights in the sky. Perhaps I love it most because it's called Independence Day. I love to fight for my clients' independence. Your right to drive, to provide for your family, your right to do stuff. You feel liberty most when you lose it. Remember buying a box of bottle rockets and salute shells with nothing more than a "have fun, kids"? Well, things have changed since then, including the consequences of a DUI. We're your safe and sane solution to keep freedom ringing. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. Red, white, and blue are the colors of freedom, unless they're flashing behind you. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
We'll talk more with John Forsland coming up at 9 o'clock, but the Kraken were at least active yesterday, signing two of the bigger names on the free agent list. Were they the right names? Well, there's maybe a little bit more of a conversation. Ron Francis on why he went with Brandon Montour and Chandler Stevenson.
You know, we think with the addition of Montour, that's an offensive piece on the back end. He's playing 23, 24 minutes for a cup-winning team, brings the Stanley Cup into the locker room with him. And, and Stevenson, just a really good two-way guy, plays with pace, has, sneaky skill set. So, brings two cups into the locker room as well. So they checked a lot of boxes, and we're excited to add them to our roster.
There's no doubt that championship experience seems to be a big deal to Ron Francis. That has been a theme throughout his tenure here as the GM of this team. I get Montour, honestly. Makes sense. He is a dude who's going to help them offensively from the blue line. He'll help the power play, as Ron Francis said.
There's things you're looking to try and do and try and tweak. I think he'll help with our power play. We got Dunner and him now on the power plays. And Riker's a possibility as well, so I think that helps. And then he's a guy that can skate and join the rush, which is what we're looking for, the way we want to play. And same thing with Stevenson. He's got a lot of pace to his game, and that's the way we like to play.
I mean, a lot of that makes sense. And, after watching Justin Schultz captain the power play at times, yeah, I do think they needed a little bit more help there on the blue line to help offensively. The one that makes less sense to me is Stevenson, and maybe Forsland can help me out here. The scouting report is of a somewhat offensive guy who doesn't really play a tremendous amount of two-way defense, But then when you look at the numbers, he doesn't put up a lot of them. Never had more than 21 goals. He's only done that once. Last 2 years were 16 goals apiece. And in terms of assists, I mean, like, okay, in the 30s or 40s? I don't see it. So we'll see whether or not this is enough. They both got paid a tremendous amount of money for 7-year deals. So this is the future of this team. Maybe it's enough to get them to where they need to be, but at least on paper, that would surprise me.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
All right, Mariners are not playing their best right now as they are nursing this 3-game lead. Kudos again to Jake Wittenberg from King 5. They do get to stay home, but they're going to battle a Baltimore team that is very, very good. And last month looked like a World Series contender when we saw them in Baltimore. They can hit for sure. Gunnar Henderson making a legit run at an MVP award. Anthony Santander is a force. Adley Rutschman, obviously. They're both stars. In fact, every regular on this team, other than Cedric Mullins, who's still, I think, a good player, has an OPS over 700. Pretty incredible. And then they recently called up Heston Kjerstad, who's been awesome. He's got an OPS near 1,000. So, yeah, that was a guy the Mariners had been looking at in the offseason. Grayson Rodriguez, George Kirby will get things going tonight. We'll also find out the status of Mitch Garver, who you remember was hit on a wrist by a pitch the other day. If he's not able to go, would they call up Harry Ford? We asked Aaron Goldsmith.
I've been watching Harry casually from afar, like a lot of Mariners fans. I have no idea where he is at mentally and physically to handle something like that. I can speak about the organization with full certainty in this regard. They would never make a short-term decision like that would harm the long-term, right? It would not be worth calling up Harry unless you really had conviction that he could handle it.
Well, I'll tell you who will have some insight on this is Dan Wilson, who's going to join us in about 10 minutes. He does work with the catchers throughout this organization, so we'll get a thought on where Harry Ford is at right now.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
All right, what's going on in the NBA, and does it affect what could happen here in Seattle? Yesterday, Wyc Grousbeck, who is the majority owner of the Boston Celtics, announced that he is planning to sell his controlling interest in that team. He's owned them for about 2 decades. He's won a pair of championships, including one just, a week and a half ago or so. One of the minority partners there is David Bonderman, who, of course, owns the Kraken and is expected to be the leading candidate for an expansion team here in Seattle. I just think it's a little interesting that he's selling right now. Here's Brian Windhorst on that decision.
What a brilliant time to sell. There is a new television deal coming, $76 billion. There is the Celtics have basically re-signed their entire team. Derek White signed today. Jason Tatum will be closely on his heels. Whoever buys this team is going to get the opportunity to win potentially multiple championships in the next 4 or 5 years, and a bulge of money out there from investors looking to invest in sports properties. It's probably, even though it's going to be hard for Wyc Grousbeck and Steve Pagliuca, the primary owners, I can't imagine a better time to sell the team, and I'm sure they're going to make out in a massive way when they do find a buyer.
It sounds like it would be a wonderful time to buy a team. What am I missing? That doesn't sound like a great time. Oh, it's a great time to sell the team. They're poised to win a bunch of championships and everything is golden. That's absolutely when you want to get out. I don't think it's just about money for somebody like that. I know money plays a huge role. They don't want to lose it, but the reason he got into this thing was to win championships. He's coming off of one. I don't know. The whole thing is just the whole thing is very strange, and I don't know exactly what it means for Bonderman, but look, he'll get out of it. Even if he's not part of this sale, he can get out of that deal whenever he wants, I'm sure, and be ready to own a team here in Seattle. But it is something to at least follow. I do think it's strange that both Wyc Grousbeck and Mark Cuban are both deciding to exit this league within a year of each other. That is everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Is it possible that our audience is getting smarter over the years? Listen to these texts. Great rant on home fireworks. Unfortunately, most morons have already bought them. Next year, start earlier with your messaging. Good point. All right, I will do my best. Let's see. Salk likes poppets, whatever.
509 says as a 20-year wildland firefighter and 15-year Brock and Salk listener, I can say that Salk has never been right about anything ever until today.
Thank you.
Go watch real fireworks.
Mike's rant about not doing fireworks at home home because they are dumb. Just made me like Mike 100% more than before. Couldn't agree more. This is the one time I agree with Salk. My neighbor blew his face up last year. It was horrible. I'm telling you. Salk is right, says the 360. Nothing is worth doing unless you do it at a professional level. That's right.
253. Don't be dumb. Dad Salk is my favorite Salk.
Salk, thanks for addressing one of my biggest pet issues, fireworks. I couldn't agree more. Best Salk take ever. You guys could go on and on with this. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones out there who think that I'm being lame, who think I'm being a stick in the mud, who think I'm the old man yelling at clouds. Whatever. You say that now, you just wait until somebody in your family blows off an appendage and then come talk to me and see how happy you are. This is very, very easily avoidable.
Good question here, 206. So the texters are smart, but the commenters are not?
The texters really aren't that smart, but they're being smart today. As I said, they're getting smarter. The commenters, yeah, I'm not too concerned about what they have to say. Dan Wilson, it's been a while since we've talked to Dan. I got a lot of questions for him about Julio, specifically about the catching situation and whether or not Harry Ford should be an option. We'll talk to Dan the Man next on Brock and Salk.
The Dugout. Go in depth with the Mariners.
Goodbye, baseball.
With voices like Rick Riz, Aaron Goldsmith, and Dave Sims.
This is a club that has the ability to go on another run.
You never know when a team is going to get hot.
This team's window is wide open.
Hear from the players and coaches and go behind the scenes with insider Shannon Drayer.
We are seeing him comfortable with where he is at the plate. We're seeing a guy that has his timing.
The Dugout, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here, along with IRG Physical and Hand Therapy President and CEO Shannon O'Kelly. Now, Shannon, I need to ask you if what I've been hearing is true. You don't need a referral, really, to see a physical therapist in the state of Washington?
That's exactly right, Brock. The state of Washington is a state that has what's called direct access. That means that if you get up in the morning, for example, and you hurt your back or did something to your muscles or tendons or joints, you can call a physical therapist directly, and we can get you in that same day and start your care and your recovery process.
How can patients get scheduled with IRG?
Oh, it's easy. You just contact us at irgpt.com. We'll direct you to our concierge service, and we'll take care of all that for you. We handle all the authorization, verification. We want our patients to understand their insurance benefits and what the outcomes are going to be with their visit to IRG Physical and Hand Therapy.
Please, please, please don't let injuries keep you from your passion. Schedule online today at irgpt.com and start the journey back to your best self.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament, presented by Boeing in downtown Everett, July 13th and 14th. 4 players to a team and 2 days of exciting action. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Team registration has been extended to July 8th. Register your team by July 8th at everett3on3.net. That's everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, Boys and Girls Clubs, McNaughton Foundation, and Coastal Community Bank.
Headed outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nellie on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on seattlesports.com.
2 things you're looking at when you're shopping for a new car or SUV: choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett and you'll be satisfied with both. Which Mazda moves you? Find out at Mazda of Everett. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock, and right now they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? They also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like you heard about a July 4th sale. It's a great chance to red, white, and do that job you've been putting off. Like an oil change with full synthetic motor oil. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum with an STP extended life oil filter for just $34.99. Save on oil, wash and wax, and more this weekend at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Celebrate July 4th with the hottest deals at Lowe's. Right now, get 2 select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for $15. And buy 2, get 1 free on select paint and exterior stain via Lowe's gift card rebate. Shop these deals before they're gone, because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 7/10. Annuals offer in-store only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Paint. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details while supplies last.
You ready for a road trip? Because it's time for the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here. In this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. You'll get an extra entry when you trade in or sell your vehicle. And if you service your vehicle during the event, you'll be entered into a giveaway for a sleek solo stove. Just stop by and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
This hour of the Brock and Salk Show is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
You're listening to Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You know, one of the great developments of the last couple of years, and it's unfortunate that, as Jay Buhner kind of exited the broadcast for the Mariners, that was a bummer because love Jay. But I've really enjoyed Dan Wilson's perspective as he's done more and more of the games and filled in and been a part of the Tuesdays thing instead. And I just really have enjoyed him. He's gotten so much more comfortable doing it. And I think that really comes out when you're watching the broadcast or listening to the broadcast. And he's a really nice kind of counterpart. So I've really enjoyed Dan on the broadcast here for the last couple of years.
A lot of time with the guy. I mean, you see
for
him
sure
in training, like he knows obviously everything.
You get a lot of that insight. And so happy to have him on the show. It's been a while. Dan Wilson joining us now. Dan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to hear your voice. I was just talking about how much fun it's been listening to you on the broadcast over the last couple of years. It seems like it's something. It seems like you enjoy it more than when you first started. You feel more comfortable doing it now?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, and I do. I think the more you do it and the more comfortable you get in there, it definitely gets a little bit easier and more fun. And I think, too, that this is a great team, a great group of guys that's just it's easy to be up there and rooting for them and being a part of the broadcast. So, yeah, it's been good.
It is worth it. It is. I'm glad you brought that up, this group of guys, because they've gone through some ups and downs. And, sort of starting with the way last season ended, the way the offseason started, and then some of the ups and downs just naturally in the first 3 months of this season, we haven't heard even a word of squabble, of infighting, of negativity. The clubhouse seems as tight now as it ever has been. Am I missing anything there?
No, I think you're dead on, and that's what makes this group so fun, and I think it also makes them very dangerous. I think, in terms of wins and losses, you just don't know. They can surprise you real quick, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that they are such a tight group, and I do think that Scott and the staff does such a great job in spring training of bringing these guys together. Helping them to just forge those bonds so that when you get to season and it's time to do battle, these guys know each other. They know each other on a different level, and I think that really, really helps when they take the field. And I think you see it too, and every time, and there's always a lot of these, but when they have those walk-off wins and the celebrations on the field, these guys are genuinely just so happy for one another, and it really, really shows. So it is a great group. It's a fun group, and one that's been exciting and will continue to be exciting to watch this year.
So when we called you to come on, I wasn't expecting to just talk catching, but, it seems to work out that way with Mitch Garver potentially going on the IL today. We'll see what happens. If he does, I know you've worked with some of the guys in the minors. How close is Harry Ford to being ready to come up, even if it's only for a 10-day stint or something like that?
Yeah, I think it would all depend on obviously the role, but I think Harry has made some huge strides this year. And, I think being around spring training has really, really helped him, and he gets to know some of the big league pitchers. He gets to catch some of the big league pitchers and get a taste of it in the spring training games. Although spring is a little bit of a different animal than the actual season, he's been around it. He knows the pitchers a little bit, and that always helps. I think the strides he's made behind the plate in terms of, when you talk about catching, there's more than just the physical. It's the everything else that goes into game planning, to running a pitching staff, and we've seen Cal do such a great job of that, and Mitch as well. So these guys come into, getting a chance to come to the big leagues for the first time. There's a lot on their plate, and so it's hard to sort of predict. But I think in a 10-day situation, Cal is playing so much and has played a lot of games. And so it'd be interesting to see. I think obviously the hope is that Mitch is fine and can just be kind of a day-to-day situation. But we'll see. I think Harry is ready. He's been on a big stage before, but we'll see what happens.
What does he do best?
To me, he does a lot of things very, very well behind the plate. I think the biggest stride this year has come with the bat, and he swung the bat pretty well. He's very athletic in what he does. He can actually, he's a catcher that can actually run, which is,
rare.
I love that. Very rare.
Who's the best running catcher of all time?
He's tremendous. Oh, that's a good question.
Is it Jason Kendall when he was young?
He's a guy that comes to mind. I think maybe I think in recent years, probably.
Okay. I have to think a little bit more about that. That's my first guess.
Yeah. And then he had the horrible incident at first base and kind of blew up his ankle, and that was probably the end of it. But yeah, he stole a lot of bags early on. But I think the one thing we saw in spring training is Harry can really throw. He has really, again, just, made his mark, I think, defensively, and has made some great improvements back there. And he's put in the work, he's put in the time, and he's a guy that works extremely hard. And I saw that he was selected for the Futures game this year again, and it'll be exciting to see him take part in that again.
Talking to Dan Wilson, and you mentioned that Cal does play a lot, and obviously that's true. What is a reasonable amount to ask someone to catch in a season?
It just depends on the player. It really does. I don't think. I think Cal is a guy. He's kind of like the closer. He wants the ball in those situations. He wants to be back there, and he loves it. And so I think he's a guy that wants to play a lot. So I don't know if you can just put a number on it. It's really difficult. Some bodies bounce back better than others. I know he's been battling small things here and there, but you play through those things. But certainly I think when you're talking about an everyday catcher in the big leagues today, which is very rare also, I think, that there is so much more platooning, or not platooning, but sharing that goes on. But when you look at, Real Muto in Philly and some of the other guys that, Perez even maybe to some degree, although he DHs some. But, when you're talking about catching, I think anywhere between 120, 130 is quite a bit, and especially in today's game.
We have spent probably more time than we should trying to figure out what's going on with Julio Rodriguez this year. And obviously there's no one answer and no one easy answer. And all of the, sort of thought around it is just about trying to see the guy that we all fell in love with. And certainly there's no questions about his work ethic or anything like that. But what do you see when you watch Julio at the plate right now? Because it's just not what we watched for the first two seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I heard what Alvin Davis had mentioned a couple of weeks ago when he was on about staying in the strike zone. And I know as a minor league organization, we so preach that. And that's, controlling the zone, dominating the strike zone on both sides of the ball is so important. And I think that's incredible advice. And that's tough to do when you start to, when you're not producing offensively like you want to, you sometimes feel like you can swing your way out of it. And so staying disciplined in the strike zone is so key. But I see just, I think he's frustrated like we are. And I hope he can, he's putting in the work. And when you put in the work, you like to see results. And I think what I love to see about Julio is that he's trying to, also do his part in other areas of the game. We've seen him play great center field. And when he gets on base, he's trying to be aggressive. And so, I think I love that he's, trying to find different ways to contribute offensively. But I foresee him turning it around here pretty soon. And when he does, I think that's when it's going to be a lot of fun, because when you go through times like this, you learn a lot about yourself and you come out a better player, and it's going to be fun to watch when he gets through it.
Were you around, obviously you were around a lot of great players in your career. Were you around one who went through a prolonged slump, maybe not quite like this, but in any way similar?
Man.
I only ask not to say not.
Besides myself.
Well, I'm not trying to figure out if this is unique, because I know great players sometimes struggle, but I'm trying to figure out kind of what the mentality is for a great player struggling versus a normal average player struggling, who, I'm sure says, okay, I've got to get back to this in order to keep my career going, as opposed to there's a lot of pressure on me to deliver for this team, for this fan base, for the money that I'm earning, et cetera. And I wonder how they kind of handle that element of not living up to it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, nobody comes to mind right off the bat, but it is. I mean, that's a big part of the struggle, and baseball is a mental game. There's no question about it, and it's a lot of times things that, I think the thing that's important to remember is, and we talk again about this in the minor leagues a lot, is being able to control the things that you can control. And so, I like you mentioned, he puts in the work, he puts in the time. And he I love that about him. He stays enthusiastic. I love that about him. And he's just, it's going to happen for him. And again, like I said, it's going to be fun to watch when it does.
In your time in the minors, I know you've sort of been all around, right? So you've been to Modesto, you've been to Everett, you've seen kind of all of these young guys. Are there one or two that really stand out to you where you say, oh my gosh, I know the trade deadline's coming up, and I know that you got to give up talent to get talent, but man, I really, really like this kid and don't want to see him on another team long term. Does someone jump out to you?
I was recently in Everett, and they had just called up a couple of players, and Michael Arroyo is a name that I think we've started to hear a little bit, and I was very impressed. A lot of times I think we see when guys change levels, they try to come to a new level. They think it's a better brand of baseball. They try to be a better player. They kind of get outside of what they normally do to try to show everyone that they deserve to be there. But Michael Arroyo was brought up to high A Everett last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and just continued to be the player that he was. And, I was very impressed by that. Just a very steady kind of player, plays second base. He ended up hitting 500 for the week. I think his first hit in Everett was a homer to right field as a right-handed hitter. So he's very balanced player and made some great plays at second base as well. So that was fun to see and kind of opened my eyes as I've gone around. But I think overall, throughout the entire minor league system, we do have a lot of great players, and it's fun to watch. A lot of great position players. We have some great arms. So it's, as we talk about a lot, it's a great time to be a Mariner, and we're, with the big league team in first place currently, it really is a good time to be a part of this organization.
All right, so here's what I was able to determine. The all-time leader in steals, anyway, for a catcher is Roger Bresnahan, who I admit I've never heard of. Do you know Roger?
No.
Okay, well, he had 212 bags.
A year?
212. I don't have a year on it, but he had 212 bags. Jason Kendall had 189, but is the only catcher in the modern era since 1900 to record 20-plus steals in 3 different seasons. So certainly Kendall's on the list. And then a little love thrown to Yachty, who had like around 70 steals in his career. Obviously faster than either of his 2 brothers, who are nowhere near this list.
There you go. I love it.
Fast.
Well,
catchers.
that was fast. You're fast.
I'm very fast. I have this computer in front of me with the Google right on it. And so I Googled it, and that's what I was able to come up with. Dan, we appreciate it. Good to catch up. Don't be a stranger. And seriously, it's been a pleasure listening to you on the broadcast. Really enjoy it.
I appreciate it. And great to be on. And I look forward to seeing you down at the ballpark.
Sounds good. All right, there's Dan Wilson for a few minutes here. And, yeah, I had a feeling Michael Arroyo might be a name that came up. He's just completely dominated this year. And he's a second-round pick. It's not like he comes out of nowhere.
Right.
He may not have quite the same pedigree as, a few of the guys that we've been following, but he is a second-round pick. And as he can, another one of these guys who plays in the middle of the infield, right, who just has some really great skills. And as you hear there from Dan, maybe a maturity level that goes with it that could help him rise quickly in this organization.
One of my favorite things I tell people about spring training that they don't get to see because we get there so early, right?
Right.
Like you get there before anybody's allowed to be there. Dan's one of the first guys out and getting ready, doing the early work.
Always.
So this guy really cares a lot.
100%. Let's do some Blue 88.
This is Brock and Salk's Blue 88.
Blue 88! Blue 88!
We take you to the field as Brock Heward breaks down 3 football questions as only he can.
Now here's your hosts, Brock Heward and Mike Salk.
Speaking of people who really care a lot, so much so that they're not. Oh, wait. They're here for Blue 88. How great. It's Brock Heward. Hi, Brock. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Michael. Did you do your fireworks rant?
I already did. Yeah, right at about 7:05 this morning.
Oh, great. Yeah.
More agreements, Brock, than ever before on the text machine. I think the tide is turning on this one.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I'm sure people loved it. Great.
I'm sure they'll love it in Idaho, where you are.
Oh, they really love it. Yeah.
They love that rant in Idaho. They really like when people infringe upon their freedoms to light off fireworks in Idaho. I'm told that's a big part of living there.
Yeah. I think I'm going to hop on Highway 2 as well and just head on over to Libby.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure they'll love that at Libby. I'll check in with Libby as well.
How far are you from Libby?
Justin, how far am I from Libby?
Probably about an hour and a half.
That's it?
Yeah.
Brock, it's almost a criminal mistake if you don't go to Libby.
Closer to
I
2
think
hours,
I
an hour and a half.
I think I got to make my way over there. Are you heading back to Libby?
Not for the 4th this year. It is a fun. Actually, you know where you should go for the 4th is just on the west side of Libby is Troy. They do a massive 4th of July party there. It's really good. Yeah, Troy, Montana.
Okay.
Go
Troy, Montana. Okay. I'll look into it.
You pretty much have to go. Brock, question number 1 for you. We do a little Blue 88. What is the biggest key for the Hawks players here over these last couple weeks of the offseason?
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday with all the conversation we've had about the different schemes and all the different guys, and we'll continue certainly as camp comes about here, Salk, and they put pads on, and we kind of see it come to life a little bit more. But I'm reminded of something that actually the great Roger Rosengarten, Jane Salk's favorite, said to us about Ryan Grubb's system. And we asked him about, how that translates to the Seahawks and what he loved about it. And he kind of just continued to talk about the aggressive, perpetual motion. And for me, these receivers, these running backs, even the linemen, this is a time where you don't shut down. Even though you're a couple weeks from camp, maybe last week, maybe when OTAs ended, take a week off, go to Cancun, go to Tahiti, go sit in the sun. But these last 3 weeks leading up to camp, you got to run. I think from just a conditioning factor, everybody and all football players got to find a way to run and get their conditioning and make sure they're up to pace. But I think with the tempo within this system, the constant motion they're going to be in, pushing the tempos, and I think going to play it at a briskness on both sides, right, with all the movement, everything they're going to do defensively and certainly offensively as well. So I really hope the boys come in tremendous cardiovascular shape. They got to be running over the next few weeks to make sure they hit camp running, pun intended.
Great point. Question number 2. Boye Mafe sat down with Chris Long on his podcast and went into some detail on this scheme. Brock, what did you hear?
Once again, interchangeable parts. Listen to Boye talk about everybody. Once, kind of to my conditioning point, man, you're not just going to be a slug. You're not just going to be a 1 technique or a 3 technique. You're going to move up and down this line. You're going to have freedom that you've not had in the past. And you're going to be able to disguise because there's going to be so many interchangeable parts. Here was Boye on that podcast.
The thing I love about this defense is every position can do anything. You can have, he walked up on the line, and he's got to cover the flat. You know what I'm saying? You could have me off the ball, and I'm blitzing. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things where it's like you might see the pre-snap picture, because every quarterback does it. You know what I'm saying? They get out there, they look, they see, we got one eye. Let's see if they're a man or zone. But the whole time, we can show you something and change the picture on you. And I love that. I love that. Like, that's, to me, the fact that I can be over the center to over the tackle to off the ball and have the same attack or same mentality with it. He gives you the tools of what he wants it to look like, and he says, now you just have fun with it.
I think 2 guys come to mind, Salk. At the college level, Michael Penix. At the pro level, Peyton Manning. 2 guys that were able to diagnose that pre and post snap picture as good as anybody at those levels that I've ever been around. It's part of the reason Michael Penix hardly got hit, hardly got sacked, one of the fewest guys sacked in all of college football over the last 2 years, and then put on the Michigan tape and you'll see just some level of confusion and holding the ball and taking a beating in a way that he really, and some of that was certainly their personnel, but a lot of it was also exactly what Boye was talking about, showing them different pictures pre and post snap. Peyton Manning hated playing against the Rex Ryan system, and there's a lot of Rex Ryan components to this blitzing and to this movement and to this, man, who's coming, who's going, who's blitzing, who do I identify, how do I set my protection, all of those things that make a quarterback's life a lot more difficult. And I'll say it for the 100th time, I can't wait to watch it put into action.
Good stuff. Question number 3. So Mike Tomlin has such an interesting job right now, but he's got to figure out what to do with Russ. He's got a contract, so no more of this worry that Mike Tomlin is playing for his job. He just got himself a new contract. But what will he have to do with Russ that others haven't been able to get out of him?
Realize and be totally transparent and honest with Russ that you can't do everything on a football field. And in his final years, there was a lot of friction in Seattle. He went to Denver because he felt like in a guy like Hackett, he could run that show. He could dictate. And then obviously last year, Sean Payton did not see eye to eye with Russ. And I thought this was a really good point that Mark Schlereth made yesterday with Wyman, and Brady was filling in for Bob. And as you get older and you do have deficiencies both physically, and you should also learn what you are and what you're not. That's one thing Russ has had a hard time doing. Here was Stink talking about it.
It's important to understand your strengths. It's probably more important to understand your weaknesses. And I don't think Russell understands his weaknesses. I don't think he looks at himself with a critical eye to the point where he's like, oh, yeah, I need to be better at this. As a matter of fact, I had him Denver versus the Raiders, and I point blank asked him because he said in the paper he needed to be better. And so I said, right here's the quote. I showed him the quote in the paper, and I said, give me 3 specifics that you need to be better at. And he said, well, when we get to the red zone, we got to focus on putting – I said, you're not a French waiter. I didn't ask what we have to be better at. I said, what do you have to do better? Like, give me something tangible that I can bring to the broadcast that you have to be better at. Dave, I asked him 3 times, and 3 times he failed to answer the question to the point where we just had to move on. And I'm like, if you don't look at yourself in a critical fashion, you think you can be the next Drew Brees. You can't because you don't have that skill set. Sorry, you just don't.
That's a little unfair. Russ he doesn't need to tell you the specific things he needs to be better at and give the opposing team an opportunity to attack those things. That feels I love Stink, but that's a little unfair. And I hope Brady was laughing, the hitman over there, during the whole interview.
Yeah, I bet he was. Now understand the context of that. It's a production meeting, so that's not for the other team to see. That's not on air. That's not in print.
Still.
That's just Mark, asking Russ for some things to look at. Well, what I would do, honest to goodness, if I was the offensive coordinator for the Steelers and it's Arthur Smith and I was Mike Tomlin, I think the best in the singular area where he has to improve is taking sacks. And I would do what Mike Holmgren did with us one offseason and watch that sack reel. One of the most, humbling and hardest tapes to watch, that and the interception reel. But even the sack reel was sometimes harder. I could have got rid of that. I should have slid the protection. I should have seen that. Yep, my vision was blinded there, and I took the sack rather than force the ball. Yep, I should have thrown it away. And have concrete, give answers of why those things happened at the rate with which they've happened, because that's been the one thing that has been consistent no matter where Russell has been, no matter who has been in front of him, whether they're young, whether they're old, whether they're converted D linemen, whether last year in Denver, some really good players on that offensive line. The sacks are just out of control. So if I were Russ, if I were his consultant, if I were his QB coach, that would be the one area in year 13 that's got to be remedied and fixed if he's going to get back on his Hall of Fame path.
There you go. That is today's Blue 88. Great job today, Brock. That was a powerhouse Blue 88. One of my favorites in a while.
Well, I had 5 hours to think about that and, ponder it and lots of questions. It was just Titus and I on the drive, and it was great. He's like, do you want to do some trivia?
Yeah.
And I was like,
no.
Trivia? Sure. Yeah, so we did multiple trivia. We did, the different sports brands, which brands represent in college football: Under Armour, Adidas, Jordan.
Jeez.
Yeah, we did college football trivia. We did NFL trivia. It was quite a trivia trip over here to Idaho.
It sounds like it. Wow.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
All right. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, you were already most of the way there since you picked Titus up in Woodinville. I would think it was probably a pretty easy.
Pretty close. Yeah.
You're basically halfway there at that point.
Pretty close. Tell Passon. Tell who else we got? Lyle. Tell everybody hello for me today, would you?
I will definitely.
Mr. Forsland, go bring it strong. Go finish.
It's going to be an interesting day with Mr. Forsland. I don't know that I love what the Kraken did yesterday. I kind of want to see if he has a higher opinion of a couple of the moves that they made. We'll see where that goes.
Awesome.
Brock, have a great Fourth, and keep
friend.
all of your fingers together by not letting off those stupid fireworks.
No more Roman candle wars. That was just on 9th Street. No more of those. No.
See you, buddy.
Goodbye.
There goes Brock Heward. Coming up next, one of the more confusing stories I've read in a while, and all of the facts don't seem to be in yet. We'll see if we can decipher it together next on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
If they want to win, the Mariners need to blank.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
You can say, for instance, trade for Luis Robert, or you could say strike out less. You could say change up their uniforms, bring in the fences, whatever it is. Turn that trident upside down. Bump, what you got?
Produce more extra base hits, please. Now, all I'm saying is just, look, man, let's get on second base a bit more, because at the clip that they're doing it just ain't going to work.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Hi, this is Ursula Reutin from my friends at CertaPro Painters. Summer's finally here, and it's the perfect time to give your home or business an exterior makeover. I recently had my home painted by CertaPro Painters, and I was blown away by their attention to detail. They did a beautiful job. Now it's your turn. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters. That's CertaPro.com.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like you heard about a July 4th sale. It's a great chance to red, white, and do that job you've been putting off. Like an oil change with full synthetic motor oil. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $34.99. Save on oil, wash and wax, and more this weekend at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Suit up in your sweetest stars and stripes for July 4th weekend at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners are celebrating with a post-game fireworks show this Wednesday, presented by T-Mobile. America's pastime and fireworks? It's a patriotic palooza at the park when 2 of the AL's best, the Orioles and Mariners, square off at 7:10.
He struck him out! What a night, George Kirby! A dozen punch-outs.
Catch 2 great shows for the price of one. Mariners baseball and a fireworks spectacular featuring a dazzling display of red, white, and Mariners blue. Visit Mariners.com to get your tickets and check out all the action coming to T-Mobile Park this summer. Be here for a 3-game set versus the Blue Jays Friday to Sunday. And more fireworks nights, including the T-Mobile Park 25th anniversary show on July 19th.
Go on a grand slam for J.P. Crawford!
Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
At Shane Company, we have endless ways to create personalized jewelry that lets your unique style shine. Come marvel at our rainbow of gemstones and find the one that speaks to you. Customize your ring setting and add a personal touch to it, like an engraving on the band. Stack rings and layer necklaces to create your signature look. At Shane Company, we're dedicated to creating unique jewelry you won't find anywhere else. Let us help you find a piece that feels like it was designed just for you. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Everyone loves a road trip. Start yours at the Harnish Auto Family Road Trip Sales Event. Hey, Brock Hewitt here, and this month, the Harnish Auto Family is offering a chance to win a $500 road trip package from Sportco and Outdoor Emporium. Test drive any vehicle and enter for your chance to win. No purchase necessary. Just stop by your favorite dealership, Volkswagen of Puyallup, Subaru of Puyallup, Kia of Everett, Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup, or Chevrolet of Everett, and take a test drive for your chance to win. HarnishAutoFamily.com. People matter. See dealership for details.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
On Seattle Sports.
We're going to excuse you from the interview.
It doesn't really work that way, Sharon. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Now, here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
Hello! Dude, Matt in Oregon's funny. Brock couldn't be bothered to turn on a TV just to watch Justin's movie for how many years? Now we think he's going to drive 90 minutes just to see Justin's hometown?
That's a really good point, Matt.
That's true, Matt. We had to watch it with Brock, the slow ride
I don't
home.
get the feeling that Brock sits still and watches TV very often.
No.
I guess like
just tape.
Sports.
Yeah, he's just sitting watching tape,
watch film,
rewinding stuff constantly, and all of that. Anyway, can you guys help me? We got a bunch of stuff sort of planned here for the rest of the morning. Jeff Passan's going to join me in a half hour for his regular Tuesday. John Forsland at 9 o'clock. So we got a bunch of stuff kind of coming up later. This story in the NBA is a little confusing to me, and generally I try to be, as educated on this stuff as possible before bringing it to the air. But I kind of struck out a little bit last night as I sought a little bit more information. So if you remember, this kind of starts, 6 months ago, maybe a little longer than that, when Mark Cuban opted to sell his controlling interest in the Dallas Mavericks. And when that happened, I got to admit, I was shocked. Mark Cuban seems like there's nothing in the world he loves more than being an NBA owner. Mm-hmm. He was for years held up as the shining example of exactly what you wanted as an owner. He hired good people around him and wasn't necessarily making all the basketball decisions and interfering, but he was passionate about it. He was invested in it. And while Mark always likes to make money on every deal he does, clearly, and he's done very well for himself, it didn't feel anyway as if he was in the NBA ownership group for the money. It seemed like that was secondary to his desire to just be an NBA owner. Right?
Well, isn't he still part owner of the team?
No,
it says I'm reading that press release.
So
he retains the 27% ownership.
He does, but he's no longer the control. Yeah, well, that's done. I just read this the other day. So he is no longer the controlling owner. He sold to the Adelsons, by the way, who are about as politically divergent from Mark Cuban as you could imagine. It never seemed likely that they were going to be able to work together for very long. And then, a week or so ago, I read that he's no longer even in control of basketball operations or any of those decisions for the Mavericks. So, okay, file that one away. That's a little odd to me that Mark Cuban's getting out of the NBA, given his extreme love affair with being an NBA owner. The Phoenix one is not a huge surprise. That guy, Robert Sarver, right, or whoever it is in Phoenix. He needed to sell because he's a terrible person, and so he sells. And $4 billion or something like that the Suns go for. I was blown away to hear yesterday that Wyc Grousbeck is going to sell the Boston Celtics. So he bought that team in 2002 and for $330 million, something like that. The valuation on the Celtics is going to be significantly higher than the Suns. So it's got to be worth more than $4 billion, maybe $5 billion, maybe $6 billion. I don't know what that number is.
Yeah, 4.7 last year.
It may be higher than that because I saw there was a minority owner that changed hands somewhere for a lesser team. I forget which team. And that was his share was valued at a $6 billion overall for that team. So the Celtics could be worth $7-8 billion. I don't know what this is going to look like when it's all said and done. They're one of the true heritage brands in all of sports, right? Now, they don't own their building. They rent from the Bruins. They don't own a majority stake in a sports network, although that might be a benefit for them right now. So it is all just a little funky. Why is Wyc Grousbeck coming off of a NBA championship with a team that is set up to win more championships in the next few years? They've now agreed to terms with both of their two stars. Why is he selling? He doesn't need the money, as far as I know. They're trying to say this is estate planning. Okay, well, his father is maybe going to pass soon.
That quote, I don't know, particularly interesting. After considerable thought and internal discussion, has decided to sell the team for estate and family planning considerations.
Right. So this is not like he didn't just make this decision last week. Like, you know what? Screw it. I'm out. I'm going to sell.
Going out on top.
Right. I mean, like this has been brewing for a while. His top partner, he's got a bunch of minority partners, but his number one partner is a guy named Steve Pagliuca. And I read his statement last night, which says, yeah, I would like to be involved still in some way. Now, is he the big thing that I can't quite figure out is the entire ownership group selling, or is Wick Grossbeck the majority owner selling? Because there's a difference. If Wick is selling 60% or whatever he owns of the team, the controlling interest, that's one thing. And all of the other owners remain there, and maybe one of them gobbles up some of his shares. But the article I was reading this morning in Front Office Sports was saying essentially that the whole group is selling, and that Fenway Sports Group, led by John Henry, would consider buying it. Well, that gets really interesting because guess who's a minority partner in Fenway Sports Group? LeBron James. And I don't see any scenario where LeBron James is going to be a part owner of the Boston Celtics. Certainly not while he's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. So there's a lot to be worked out there in terms of what all of this means. Why do we care here in Seattle? Two reasons. One, David Bonderman, who is the owner, the majority owner of the Kraken, controlling interest in the Kraken, is a minority partner with the Celtics, or at least has been for some time. He obviously needs to get out of that deal before he can be a majority owner or lead partner in whatever NBA expansion franchises to come here in Seattle. And the expectation is that he will be that guy, A, because he's got the money, B, because he has said that he wants to be, and C, because he's already in the NBA club as a minority owner. He's been vetted, and you would assume he would have an inside track on any expansion opportunity, certainly over anybody else who was trying to make that happen. So my expectation has always been that David Bonderman is the guy here. So is this him? Will he be getting out of this deal? Quite frankly, if Bonderman wants to be a lead investor in the Celtics, maybe he says that's a better bet, right? I mean, he's not from Seattle. Maybe he says, I want to go invest in the Boston Celtics, and it takes him out of the running.
There's also the fact that his daughter is heavily involved in that. She's the executive chair of the Kraken and has been really involved with everything they're doing over there.
Very much so.
Stephanie
Holloway, is that her name? Stephanie something.
Samantha Holloway.
Samantha, thank you. Yes. So I don't know exactly what this means. Maybe it means, hey, he's out of the Celtics ownership and he is free now to pursue whatever he's going to do in Seattle. Maybe he is going to remain there, and maybe he wants to bid more on the Celtics and become a more significant partner in that franchise. Look, owning the Boston Celtics is kind of a big deal, perhaps a bigger deal than owning a risky expansion franchise in Seattle. So maybe he would prefer to do a deal like that. Maybe this means nothing. But also, why are people getting out of the NBA ownership business? Really smart owners like Wick Grossbeck and Mark Cuban, not random people, guys who have been really, really involved in the success of their franchises over the course of the last few decades. So, again, I don't know what all of this means yet. As I said, I'm kind of coming at this today a little premature because I don't know all of the facts and haven't really been able to figure out all of what's going on.
You're not quite tinfoil hat yet?
No, there's no conspiracy theory or anything here. It's just strange. It's just all a little bit odd. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say. It's all a little odd. And I'm curious to see where it goes next and how it affects us here in Seattle. We'll come right back, give you guys everything you need to know. It is Brock and Salk on CL Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Pound for pound, I don't think there's a harder hitter in the NFL than Devin Witherspoon. Well, the other guy that pound for pound was the most violent physical dude in the league for a long time, Earl Thomas. And Earl Thomas found a way to pick and choose his spots. And when he was absolutely going to uncoil and cut the legs out and knock Gronk into another planet, Devin Witherspoon's got that tool in his bag. He's got that club he can play out at Sahali, and I love it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Each week, at least one child dies from heat stroke after being left alone in a car. Often, these incidents are not a matter of neglect, but even the most responsible, loving parents are liable to forget a child in the car due to sleep deprivation, stress, or a change in routine which can lead to fatal results. As temperatures continue to soar, take steps to ensure a child is never forgotten in a hot car. Download the Cars for Kids Safety app today at carsforkids.org/safety app. Remember, that's Cars with a K.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Kick off summer by checking out the incredible showroom at Toyota of Kirkland. With a wide selection of Camrys on the lot, including the brand new 2025 Hybrid Camry, along with the new inventory of Tundras and Tacomas. All with a lifetime powertrain warranty, you're in for a summer to remember. The unbeatable team at Toyota of Kirkland will set up your test drive, and you can take that car home the same day. Get your summer groove on at Toyota of Kirkland or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's majestic golden eagles and other less majestic birds taunting you through the baseball-sized hole in your new windows. It's soaring guitar solos performed through faulty wiring in your garage, which subsequently erupts into flames. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
What's wrong? My travel rewards card didn't earn enough miles for my vacation.
Are you crying? Are you crying because of that other credit card?
Uh-huh.
Well, switch to the Capital One Venture card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase.
Really?
Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know. Up first.
All right, what are the Kraken doing? It's been a surprising couple of days for them. First, you had the draft on Friday, where most experts seemed to think they were going to go with a defenseman. Instead, they drafted a couple of centers with their first, 3 picks of the draft. Then you start free agency yesterday, and they start off with a defenseman, which I don't think most people thought they were going to do. Brandon Montour was the first guy they signed, and I actually really like that decision. Offensive-minded defenseman who's got some nice physicality to him. I like what he brings to the table. The second move, though, is what sort of surprised me, and that sent him Chandler Stevenson. Another 7-year deals for a 30-year-old supposedly offensive-minded player, but without great offensive numbers. 16 goals in each of the last 2 seasons. Has never had more than 65 points in a season. And according to Ron Francis, this is probably what you're going to get this year.
I think those are probably our 2 big moves. Other than that, we're just looking to kind of fill out depth positions in Coachella Valley, that kind of stuff. So we're working on that. And but other than that, I think we're pretty well set at this point.
We're going to talk to John Forsland more about this coming up at 9 o'clock. But one of the questions I have is, these guys may have been 2 of the top 5 available free agents. I'm not doubting that. But in the NHL, how valuable are free agents? In a league where most guys seem to sign before they get to free agency, was there more to be gained by making a trade than there was by delving into the free agency market like this? And maybe that was impossible, but it is curious to me that was the direction they tried to go. They do need to get better, there's no doubt, and I like that they are improving and making a strength even stronger on the blue line, but I just can't quite understand the whole Stevenson part of this. So maybe John Forsland will have more as he joins us coming up at 9 o'clock.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Meanwhile, the Mariners, who have not been playing their best here, are you got to turn around against one of the better teams in the league. No secret. I think Baltimore is your eventual World Series winner, and they are in town now for a 3-game series. Gosh, were they good when the Mariners played them the last time. In most phases of the game, certainly offensively, they're impressive. Gunnar Henderson has been fantastic. So is Anthony Santander and Adley Rutschman. Really, every regular on the team has an OPS over 700, which is a big deal in today's version of Major League Baseball, other than Cedric Mullins, who's been a dangerous player in his own right at times. So what do you have to do? Well, you got to limit their offense, and then you got to find a way to take advantage of their weaknesses. It's not really in the starting pitching. They got a lot of good starters, but you got to do something against their bullpen. Aaron Goldsmith thinks that this Mariner offense could be close to doing more.
If the Mariners can find a way, truly, to continue to impact the ball with as much quality as they have this year through half a season, but just do it a smidge more because it doesn't need to be a top 10 offense. Hover around league average and you're going to go to the moon. I mean, the Mariners have had a winning month every month this year. Let's remind ourselves, the Mariners are in first place, and they have been in first place for like over 70 days, right? So just get that little percent better offensively. Give yourself a little wiggle room on a nightly basis with the pitching you have. It'd be amazing.
Well, they're certainly capable of doing that. Whether or not they'll be able to pull it off, we'll see. Only 3 games up on Houston now after the Astros pounded the Jays yesterday. I guess the silver lining there is that the Blue Jays lost. But yeah, 10 of 11 wins now for Houston.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Well, just went kind of deep into this, but trying to figure out what the heck is going on in the NBA and what it means ultimately for the return of this league to Seattle. Reports coming out yesterday and eventually confirmed that Wyc Grousbeck is planning to sell his controlling interest in the Boston Celtics, a team he's owned for about 2 decades and has won a pair of championships there, including one just a few weeks ago. One of his minority partners is David Bonderman, who of course owns the Kraken and is considered the most likely future owner here in Seattle for a new expansion team. So I don't know what this means for him and why there are now a couple of owners that you would think would be right on board with where the NBA is going that have sold their controlling interests just within the last couple of months. Mark Cuban with the Mavericks and now Wyc Grousbeck. They're about to sign a huge deal with 3 different networks. Maybe this has something to do with the RSN issues that are plaguing baseball. Here's Brian Windhorst on the sale of the Celtics.
What a brilliant time to sell. There is a new television deal coming, $76 billion. There is the Celtics have basically re-signed their entire team. Derek White signed today. Jason Tatum will be closely on his heels. Whoever buys this team is going to get the opportunity to win potentially multiple championships in the next 4 or 5 years, and a bulge of money out there from investors looking to invest in sports properties. It's probably, even though it's going to be hard for Wyc Grousbeck and Steve Pagliuca, the primary owners, I can't imagine a better time to sell the team, and I'm sure they're going to make out in a massive way when they do find a buyer.
All right, well, there you go. You hear it from Brian Windhorst. Apparently it's a good time to sell. All of those make it sound like it's a good time to buy, but maybe that's just me. That is everything you need to know. 1/4 every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Hey, Dan Wilson mentioned that Harry Ford was named to the Futures team. He's not the only one. I saw this press release. I almost missed it. Cole Young has been named to the Futures game as well. So both guys will play during the All-Star break in the Futures game, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That was really fun last year.
Yeah.
I really seriously enjoyed watching that one. That was I don't know. It's like it's a peek. Obviously, it's a peek into the future, but in person, it hit a lot different. It was really, really exciting.
Why? What was it in person that made it different?
I don't know. You think of these kids as kids. It's like 18, 19-year-old kids.
Right.
And you see them and you're like, oh, you guys are really, really not children. Like, you're fresh out of high school, but you look like Major League Baseball players.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, it's like you finally get to see them up close instead of having to see, like, you hear about them in Modesto, or I guess we could always go to Everett. But it was cool. You get to see them from every team, too, not just the Mariners.
That's pretty great. All right. Good stuff from you, Justin. We'll hear a little more on these Mariners and their future with Jeff Passan, who's going to join me in a minute, and then back to some hockey at 9 o'clock and some other fun things in the 9 o'clock hour. So we got a lot left to go. Don't go anywhere. We need you. We need you here. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
You know him, you love him. John Morosi is here.
If you were worried about the front office not properly diagnosing what needs to be addressed with this team, fear not, because this road trip made it very, very clear. The club right now, it's not a complicated situation. At the trade deadline for this team, with all the strong pitching they've got, they simply need to acquire some bats who don't strike out as often.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and it is certainly now summertime. It is upon us with the 4th here just in another couple days. So what do you have planned? Vacations, road trips, maybe seeing all that the beautiful Northwest has to offer us? You don't want to be limited by how you look or how you feel. And I know you've heard how I went on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan, lost 35 pounds in 8 weeks. The results were certainly incredible. Couldn't be happier with how my life and how my energy all improved. I just want the same for you. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is looking for 710 listeners to help out this summer. Here's the ask. Schedule a 15-minute no-obligation consult at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. It is safe, it's healthy, it's sustainable weight loss without pills, injections, or surgery. You'll eat real food that you buy at the grocery store. You will lose weight. You will look and feel your very best. That feeling can be yours. What's the secret? Call Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. They'll help you. 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool has been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet, Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacey Rost here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com. 2 things you're looking at when you're shopping for a new car or SUV: choice and exceptional deals. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett and you'll be satisfied with both. Which Mazda moves you? Find out at Mazda of Everett. Choose from over 600 new Mazdas in stock, and right now they're offering 0% financing on all new Mazda CX-5s, CX-30s, CX-50s, and CX-90s on approved credit. Need more reasons? They also treat you like family and want you to drive away happy. See for yourself at MazdaofEverett.com.
Breaking ball struck him out. That's a dozen for George Kirby.
A Mariners game is the perfect place to spend a Seattle summer day. You can kick back with some Moto Pizza, take in the views of Elliott Bay, enjoy a local brew, and soak up the sun. It's like going to the beach, only better, because you don't have to pack a big cooler, you can't get stung by a jellyfish, and there's no sand to get in your shoes or anywhere else. Plus, the beach usually doesn't have JP, Cal, or Julio.
Fair ball, base hit. Julio hits their base. He's racing home. He's saved. Cal Raleigh delivers.
Pass me that sunscreen. Let's go. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Kick off July 4th week at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners are squaring off against the Orioles today through Thursday, including Patriotic Fireworks Night tomorrow at 7:10, presented by T-Mobile, and a special Independence Day celebration on Thursday at 1:10. The party continues all weekend with a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. Secure your seats today at mariners.com.
I started Davis Law Group 30 years ago with the goal of bringing the highest quality of legal representation to accident victims. Seattle has changed a lot in that time, and the needs of drivers and accident victims have grown. I'm happy to say that we have too. We've expanded our team to take on the biggest challenges for accident victims across the state. Contact Washington's best personal injury team today at 206-888-8888 or visit us online at davislawgroupseattle.com.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
One of those days where we are covering a bunch of different stories at once. What's going on with the Kraken, their moves yesterday. We'll talk to John Forslund coming up in 30 minutes. trying to figure out this whole very strange situation with the Celtics and what it could portend here in Seattle. And then, of course, the Mariners, who are just kind of limping along right now, nursing this 3-game lead. I love that word. We heard it earlier. I read it from Twitter and just from Jake Wittenberg over at King 5. And that is exactly what they're doing. They are essentially nursing this 3-game lead as they get ready for the trade deadline now about a month away. So, time for our regular weekly conversation with Jeff Passan. He joins us now. Jeff, good morning.
Michael, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just me today. Brock bailed on me last minute, so it'll just be you and me chatting. But I got a bunch of things that I want to go through with you. And I wanted to start not with the Mariners, but with the Blue Jays, because as I talk to people and as I kind of think through it as well, they really do seem like so much of the key to this offseason or to this trade deadline. You and I have talked about the Mets, and right now they sure don't look like they're going to be sellers. There are very few other teams that are really in the seller category. So let's come back to the Blue Jays. And if they sell and sell big, what does that look like?
I mean, selling big is, you're right, the key to everything. Because it's one thing to say, we're going to move Yusei Kikuchi and we're going to move Chris Bassett. We can move Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. But selling big means Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. And the Blue Jays have not indicated at this point that that's an area that they're willing to go to. I think that deep down they believe they can bring those guys back, build around them for 2025, and convince them that they don't want to be going anywhere because they're going to start winning. But are we not at the point where that's a foolhardy approach? Let's look at their division first off, because I think the context there matters. The Baltimore Orioles are a juggernaut. The New York Yankees are the Yankees, and they looked the part of a juggernaut earlier this season. The Red Sox are a good baseball team, pretty much the team that the Blue Jays hoped they would be. And the Red Sox also have in Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Peel, 3 really good prospects on the cusp of the big leagues, plus a payroll that they could expand significantly. And Tampa Bay is not, they're okay this year, but they're going to be bringing back Shane McClanahan and Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen. They've got Carson Williams and Junior Caminero on the cusp of the big leagues. They've got a little bit of room to spend. So even though I think that team's going to look different next year, it's like if you're the Blue Jays, do you really think that you're going to compete in that division with what you've got right now with a pretty bereft farm system? It just makes sense in the long term for Toronto to deeply consider the idea of dealing Guerrero and Bichette, because the return on that is just going to be so much more significant than anything that they would get for their pending free agents, or in the case of Bassett, a guy who's got 2 years left on his deal.
So what are those 2 guys worth? Using Juan Soto maybe as a baseline, are either of them worth as much as the Padres or the Nationals got for Soto?
No. And if that's what the Blue Jays are going to hold out for, then there's not going to be a trade. Because, number one, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in particular is not as good as Juan Soto. And number two, we're talking only a year and a half of control at this point, as opposed to the full season that the Yankees got with Soto and the 3 years that the Padres got when they dealt him. And look, I think both of those returns were pretty darn good. Like, you go and look at what the Nationals got. Mackenzie Gore is a foundational piece of the rotation, and James Wood he just made his big league debut. He's going to be really, really good. Like, that was a great trade for the Nationals. The Padres, it's not just the fact that Kyle Higashioka has turned into like this powerful source. He was more or less a throw-in. They got a bunch of arms, and those arms have, they haven't buoyed them entirely, but they've certainly helped. And one of them in Drew Thorpe, they turned around and turned into Dylan Cease. With the Jays, though, and Mariners in particular, I think that it is reasonable to target one foundational type player coming back, whether that's Colt Emerson, who I don't think that they would trade, Johnny Farmelo, probably not, but maybe Laz Montez, Cole Young. Like, it's the beauty of the position, Mike, that the Mariners are in right now. They could trade a dude, like a capital D dude, and they have a bunch more in the organization. And it's why I think the Mariners not only are going to be aggressive, but absolutely need to be aggressive at this point, because when you look at the state of affairs right now, got to be honest, it ain't great.
Well, at the big league level, yeah, certainly. I mean, Jeff, you watch these games every single day, and I think what has been so, I don't want to say surprising, because at some point it ceases to be surprising, is just how similar it looks day after day after day. And, you know, if you're feeling that as a somebody watching, I can only imagine what that's like if you're in Jerry Dipoto or Justin Hollander's shoes, watching the same problem play out over and over again.
Yeah, it's the offense, man. It is. It's deja vu, and the strikeouts they're just infuriating. And you listen, you knew coming into this season that the Mariners were going to strike out a lot, but I don't think that anyone envisioned it looking as ugly as it has. And you just go and look at the offense in June. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, there's no other way to put it. It's just a bad offense. It's been like Luke Raley and no one else.
Yeah, it's been like one other person at a time, right? It's like Dylan Moore for a couple days, and then Josh Rojas for a couple of days, and they've hit some home runs, and that's kind of helped them survive. But you're right. I mean, I use the word subpar. Bad is certainly a little bit more direct. It's problematic.
It is bad. I mean, it's objectively bad. That's like, there's no sugarcoating this, man.
Well, I said subpar about 3 weeks ago. Now I think it's probably fairly more safe to say bad.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because Logan Gilbert and George Kirby are awesome. Like, they were really good the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Wu, when he's out there, is awesome. And even though it was a down month for Luis Castillo ERA-wise, it's like, you know, he was competitive, and he's good. And Bryce Miller's fine. I know he's fine at home than on the road, but Bryce Miller's fine. So you have all of these pitchers, and it's like, what are you doing? Come on, offense.
I know.
Please,
really
something.
frustrating.
Show a sign. Like, back up your guys and make the pitchers feel like every out isn't life or death, because if you give up a run, then you're in peril of losing a game.
So, you know, at the heart of all of that, of course, and we talk about this every week with you, is Julio. We started to see some level of action taken this week as his personal hitting coach, Oswaldo Diaz, was at the ballpark and will be throughout the entirety of this homestand. I got a chance to catch up with him for a little while on Saturday. Interesting guy and fairly open about where Julio was at, and, you know, talked a lot about his legs. Even so, went so far as to say that Julio has grown nearly 2 inches since making it to the big leagues 2 years ago, which I would think would make it pretty challenging to maintain a level of consistency. But clearly they're recognizing that there is a need to be to have action on Julio, because you can't just sit back and let this continue.
Well, here's the thing, Mike, and I was looking at what the run, right? And yes, Hunter Brown has been much better, and Ronel Blanco has kept things up, and Framber Valdez is always solid, and they've gotten really good from Brian Abreu and Ryan Presley, who struggled mightily in April, and that bullpen is looking a lot more like what we anticipated it looking like. But at the end of the day, the reason that they're going as strong as they're going is because Yordan Alvarez is a superstar and is playing like one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have a guy who's slugging 750 over the course of a month and getting on base 40+% of the time, that's what you need to carry an offense. And I'm not saying that all of the Mariners' ills or woes are directly on Julio Rodriguez, because they're not. You know, this is not a game where one man can carry a team to the playoffs. It just isn't. Aaron Judge looked like he was trying to do that last year, and the weakness of his surrounding teammates ended up impeding them from doing so. But, man, this offense looks so much different if Julio Rodriguez is the guy that we all believed he was going to be and the guy that I still believe that he can be. He's just got some work to do, man. And we're getting to the point where by the end of this week, by the time we talk next week, the Mariners might not be in first place anymore. The Mariners might not be in a playoff position anymore, because if they were to lose first place right now, they have the same record as the third place wild card team, the Kansas City Royals.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, thanks for the happy, cheerful view of everything there, Jeff. No, you're right about all of it. There's really not even much to debate there. It led Brock to ask a question of me yesterday that I'll throw at you. I think I know your answer, and I think it will be same as mine, but let me ask you. Brock was saying, all right, trade deadline coming up. So many buyers, very few sellers. Yep. Not a tremendous amount of true impact to get back, especially if the Mets aren't selling and if Luis Robert's not going anywhere, which I still think he will, but whatever. What if you do nothing? You know, maybe you pick up a little something on the edges, but you don't trade any of those dudes you were talking about earlier. What if you keep this whole group together? How long does that take before they ultimately are ready to help you compete for a championship?
I think it's at least 2 years. And that, frankly, just with the timing of everything else, where the pitchers are in their development process and where they are with regards to service time, I just don't think that would be an entirely pragmatic thing to do. I think you need to take advantage of this window that you have right now with pitching. And I'm gonna give you a team that I think is a really good comp to the Mariners, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers. The two teams do a lot of things similarly very well. You know, they take lower draft picks and turn them into big leaguers. They have been very pitching focused in terms of their success in recent years. And yet, if you look at the Brewers this year, beyond, you know, turning Tobias Myers into a real rotation piece, they have pivoted away from pitching. Corbin Burns is gone. Brandon Woodruff is injured. Freddie Peralta is the only one left of those big three. And it's not like they went out and got a bunch of guys, big names to replace them. You know, they're leaning on Colin Ray for innings. And yet their offense, whether it is Bryce Terang turning into a guy or, you know, the young outfielders that they have. They just got Garrett Mitchell back, William Contreras becoming a great hitter, Joey Ortiz, who they got in the Corbin Burns deal. They've become a much more offensively inclined team, and they are still winning because they get just enough pitching and they know how to manage a bullpen just like the Mariners do. So the idea that you can go from a pitching-centric team to a hitting-centric team and maintain success is a realistic thing, but it's a sort of transition that you'd prefer that all of them hit at the same time and you had the best of both worlds, right? So I think that it is necessary to try and win right now, and they are so deep in the minor leagues with hitters that I'm not sure it's going to get in the way of their success in the future if they do make a little run at it now.
You and I had pretty similar answers. Yours was longer than mine, and mine also just mentioned that I think it'd be longer than that. You say 2 years. I mean, these guys are for the most part in A ball or low A, a couple in high A. By the time they're not just in the majors but contributing in the majors to a championship caliber team, that's got to be 4 years, don't you think?
I think I'm looking at Emerson and Farmello in particular, and their injuries, man, they're real bummers because they were on the fast track, right? They were going to be in high A quickly, and if they performed in high A this season, they were going to start next year at double A. And once you're at double A, I mean, you're a strained hamstring away from the big leagues.
True.
You don't need to go to triple A and perform there anymore to get a call to the big leagues. And I'm not suggesting that the Mariners are going to go and jump guys a couple of levels because they don't necessarily have to. But if that were an option, if that were a necessity, it's absolutely something that they could do. So to the big leagues and contributing in the big leagues, you're right. Those are two different things. And as we've seen with a number of guys this year, whether it's Wyatt Langford or Jackson Merrill, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get your feet wet and get comfortable in the big leagues. But those two have been, among the best players in baseball over the last month or so. And so you can get contributions from extremely talented rookies. You just got to be patient with them.
Hey, I asked you about about the Blue Jays to start. There's another team that I should probably ask you about that's also one of these swing teams, and that is Arizona. And I know Mike Hazen spoke to their future a little bit yesterday. Where do you think Arizona is at here over the next month?
Well, they're carrying a bigger payroll than they ever have, and they're underperforming. And, I think a lot of it's going to go back on Ken Kendrick, their owner. Is he willing in the year after a World Series appearance to punt? And is that, shedding some salary going to be an imperative for them? Because if it were to be, Christian Walker would be a pretty darn good fit for the Mariners.
Right.
He probably the best ball and a consistent hitter, line drives and home runs. He's a guy you want in your lineup. And is he sexy? No. Is he good? Absolutely. And at this point, I don't even think the Mariners should be looking for sexy. They should just be looking for productive. And Christian Walker provides that sort of productivity.
Tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing Paul Sewald back here either. I know I've mentioned that to you before. I mean, if you could work out a deal with Arizona for two players like that, I mean, that could completely change your season, and I don't think you would need to give up nearly as much as you would for, a Vlad or a Bichette or somebody like that, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. I mean, you're paying name brand value for those other guys, and Walker's going to provide. I mean, if you look at Walker's season-long numbers, I'm not looking at them right now, but I would surmise that they're pretty much in line with Vladimir Guerrero's. But is Christian Walker going to win a Player of the Week award? No, probably not very often. He's just steady Eddie. And Vladimir Guerrero, I think, was 13 for 26 and is hitting for power again last week. And so you get that guy who can help carry your lineup for a week, Mike. I think there's a lot of value in that.
Christian Walker got an 801 OPS this year, which is just slightly ahead of his 792 OPS for his career. He's got 17 home runs. He's still hitting 256. He's driven in 50-plus here in half a season. Yep. I mean, whatever. He's a 2-win player as of today, so he's on pace for a 4-win player for the season. What about that wouldn't somebody want to sign up for other than that he's a free agent at the end of this year? It's a rental.
I think the only question is that your only move, Mike? Like, if that were the only thing that the Mariners did, would that be enough?
Probably not.
And no, maybe it's enough to help them get to the playoffs, but is it enough to do more than that? I suppose the counter argument to that is a 90-win and 86-win team met in the World Series last year, so maybe we don't have to be a juggernaut in order to fulfill what we'd like to, but you want to give yourself the best chance possible, and I'm not sure just that constitutes best chance.
Sure, but maybe the best reason to do that is that it doesn't prevent you from doing something else. If it's Vlad, that might be the only real significant move you can make. If it's Christian Walker, and maybe you find a way to get Paul Sewald in there.
I want to push back a little bit on that. There's a difference between can and should.
Okay.
The Mariners are in a position where they can do anything. Now, the question is, are they going to be pragmatic, or are they going to be willing to get out over their skis a little bit and take some risk? And sorry to bring this up, but 54% suggests that this is an organization that looks at the bigger picture and weighs that probably more heavily than they do any individual season.
Well, that might be the best use of 54% we've heard here in a long time. Correct. Because that actually is what it means. It's not a desire to only win 54%, but you're right. It is an organizational philosophy that says, hey, we got to make this sustainable. So yeah, maybe you can trade Montez and one other, just to throw out two names, but you're not going to trade 5 of these guys because we want a sustainable product that isn't just going to be good for the next year or so.
And the counter to that, Mike, would be that the Mariners have illustrated they have a pretty distinct skill at finding and developing young position players. And so maybe, they're not going to be quite as close to the vest with those prospects as they would have been in the past, because the draft and international free agency every year allows you the opportunity to replenish it. And that's what should compel you to be a little more aggressive at the trade deadline. And to me, the best teams, Mike, are not the ones that have a philosophy to which they hew with everything that is their being and essence. It's the teams that have philosophies that are malleable and that they're willing to adjust on the fly based on the state of the game right now. And the game state for the Mariners is they have a historically good starting rotation and a bad offense. And if that bad offense can even turn to average, there's a chance that something really special could happen in October.
Yeah. I think that's really well said. And I think, Jeff, you probably paint the best picture there and the best argument against sort of the long-term view of things. The other side of it is, as you just said, an 86 and a 90 win team played in the World Series last year, and the Dodgers weren't there, and the Astros weren't there, and the Yankees weren't, and some of the teams, the Mets weren't there. Is going big for a short term truly as safe a bet as it sounds like when there are so few guarantees in this stupid game that is so confusing?
Yeah, it's the antithesis of safe. It is like, but at some point, what are we looking for, right? Are we looking to play in October, or are we looking to put a gold band around our finger? And, you can play for October, and the fans will be appreciative that they get to see playoff games and that they get to watch winning baseball, and that all of those things are great. But it's, you play to win the game, and that means championship.
Darn right. Darn right. You got to do it. Jeffrey, we got to run. It's been 25 minutes. We've got to go. We're out of time. Even without Brock, we're out of time. And usually he filibusters a good 10, 15 minutes of this thing. So have a great 4th of July. Be safe. We'll talk to you next week.
It was a very nice conversation, Mike. Thank you.
It was kind of nice. Yeah, let's remove Brock from the equation every week. This would be kind of fun. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you next week.
Yeah.
There you go. There's Jeff Passan and kind of an in-depth baseball nerd kind of conversation. But look, I want to come back to that, and I think we will after the 4th. Remind me, please, Justin. I want to come back to that whole idea of the 54%, because this is where it does get important. This is where the organizational philosophy starts to matter, and a true belief, not in the ridiculousness of, are the Mariners only trying to win 54% of their games, but in, are you trying to give yourself as many bites at this apple as you can have, or are you willing to sacrifice more of your future in order to give yourself a better opportunity this year? I promise we will talk a lot more about that in the month leading up to the trade deadline. Up next, going to focus on some hockey. John Forsland joins us to explain what the Kraken did yesterday. We will do that next. Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Oluwatimi joining us.
What have you learned about yourself coming into this second year?
Preparing my body differently. Last year was kind of like a trial run. I mean, it was a blessing that not starting figuring out, okay, what I got to do to prepare myself every week. So learning that, getting my body in better shape, and just understanding snap counts, understanding defensive tendencies, understanding the playbook even better, and just knowing football a little better from the NFL. Just being in it for, I guess, going into my second year.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases. I've found that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Give me a freaking auto!
This is Brock and Salk.
Brock Ewert is my hero.
Jay Buhner just punched me in the kidney.
On Seattle Sports.
We're going to excuse you on the interview.
Doesn't really work that way, Sherm. This is a show that has my name on it.
It kind of does, though.
Brought to you by Simply Seattle.
Now here are your hosts, Brock Ewert and Mike Salk.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Jeff Passan. It sounds like a bunch of you did as well. Some really nice texts. Fantastic 25 minutes. Could listen to Salk and Passan talk baseball all day. Thank you. Appreciate that. I do love sort of the in-depth, and Jeff is always great to have that with. So we'll see. And as I said, I do want to have some more of that conversation next week regarding the philosophy behind the trade deadline, not just the actual names, because they're obviously very, very related to each other. Today, we're having that conversation as it pertains to the Kraken, who made 2 big moves yesterday and probably overspent, right? I mean, that's sort of what you do in the first phase of free agency. I applaud them for their desire. I applaud their dedication and their willingness to get in there and sign 2 of the top guys on the market. I'm a little confused about some of it. And we got a text earlier saying, hey, why Stevenson over Marchessault? I don't know. I mean, I kind of thought Marchessault was a better player and maybe a more productive player. I don't know why they would make one move and not the other. I'm confused a little bit. We're hoping to talk to John Forsland here in a moment. I do find myself confused by Stevenson. He is supposed to be an offensive-minded player, but he doesn't have great offensive numbers. So what are they seeing that the numbers aren't necessarily indicating?
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you is I guess when it comes to the timing, the strike now, like do these moves indicate that this is them not going all in?
Well, that's what they feel to
setting
me.
themselves up for 2 years from now, kind of type of move.
Both guys feel to me like the type of player you add once you're close, rather than foundational pieces that get you to that point. And maybe they think that, by adding some of these pieces around some of the youth that they've got with Beniers and hopefully Shane Wright, that it gives those guys an opportunity to grow up into being those foundational pieces that they need to be. But, Montour, I guess I get. Like, I kind of understand. He's a good player. Brandon Montour's a good player. He's going to help you on the offensive side as a defenseman. He's going to help you on the power play, which has been abysmal for most of their time here, or at least a problem. And he's going to help on the defensive end as well. He's a gritty player. There's a lot of reasons why Brandon Montour makes sense. I also like them taking a strength, their defense core, and adding to it. So I this isn't about him, but it is about him and Stevenson, and specifically about Stevenson, who is described. Now, look, I haven't watched the guy play every day. It's not like I know the ins and outs of his game. Maybe I watch him and I fall in love. But the scouting report is that he's not really a great defensive player, and the numbers show that his offense has never produced all that much. So I guess that's where some of my confusion lays here. What is the goal? What is the philosophy? What are you trying to accomplish? And, what does this season have to be about? I guess a couple things. One, you got to show progress. Two, you got to bring the season ticket holders back into the fold and make yourself interesting. You're not going to be on Root Sports. You're going to be on, over-the-air TV on King 5. What does that look like, right? And how are you able to sustain a level of growth? Those are really important things for them this year, both on the ice and off of it with the fan base, year 4. And then in the midst of all of it, what are your young players growing into? Is Matty Beniers truly going to be a number one center? He has not shown that through his 2.5-year career. Is Beniers going to develop into that great two-way second-line center that I think he can be? Well, this is an opportunity to do that. Is Stevenson, though, going to take over the first line and give him that opportunity? That doesn't feel like who he is. Okay? Is Shane Wright going to be a dude, or is this going to be a waste of the 4th pick in the draft? Because you're a couple of years in. First, there were the issues with the work ethic that they all seemed to indicate a year ago that hopefully went away. But is he going to grow into being a productive NHL player? He showed a glimpse at the very end of last year that maybe some of that has started to click. But, he's going to start this year potentially on the 4th line. So what does that look like, and who's playing with him? Are you going to put scorers around him and try to have a scoring 4th line? Or are you going to put checkers around him and energy guys and say, here, Shane, try to make your way as a player that's not really who you are? He's supposed to be a first-line kind of center, scorer. You're going to put him on a 4th line and hope that he's going to be an energy guy when all throughout his career he's been the best player on the ice?
Well, do you think that...
these are challenges that I'm not sure they have a really good plan for. And I see a team, sorry to cut you off, Justin, but I see a team that can't seem to decide whether they're going for it or not. Are you developing these guys, or are you going for it? And I feel like they're trying to serve two masters at the same time.
Well, and when it comes to developing, you do have your coach who's been coaching the guys that you've been developing, who is now going to be in the.
It's another good point.
So it's like you have these veterans who have won cups. This coach who has been dealing with the AHL for the last 2-3 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Now he knows how to manage some big time people, right? I mean, he's coached Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. I mean, like, he knows what he's doing at the NHL level. But yeah, I guess I find myself just a little confused as to how all of this is supposed to work. 509 writes in and says, "Why did the Kraken get so many centers?" Yeah, I mean, obviously they went center in the draft with their first 3 picks. It's sort of, to me, like what the Mariners did drafting shortstops. If you draft a shortstop and he grows out of it, or he hits his way out of it, or you got too many shortstops, you can always move a shortstop to second. You can usually move a shortstop to third. You can maybe move them to center, or if they, eventually get really big, you can move them to one of the corner outfield spots. So you draft shortstops because they're athletic, and because if you can do that, you can do anything.
Right.
It's sort of the same with centermen. Like, they have to be responsible enough defensively to play that position, and they've got to have the ability to kind of do everything. So centers can always move to the wing. It's much harder to get a winger to move to center. So that's why you end up drafting so many centers. Salk, stop whining. You're complaining this much about a guy you haven't even watched. Yeah, look, you're right. I haven't watched Stevenson closely. I mean, I've seen him when Vegas has been in or whatever, but I'm just looking at the scouting report says offense, and the numbers don't. What doesn't add up there? What is it they see? And unfortunately, we weren't able to connect with Forsland, but hopefully we can do that at some point, because I would like to kind of figure out what it is they're seeing that I don't necessarily, or that doesn't necessarily make sense today on the surface. We'll come back. We'll give you guys everything you need to know as you get ready for the Orioles, who are in town tonight. It's Brock and Salk, Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Of course, there are Yankees dominating. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto leading vote getters for the All-Star game. Boring. Who cares if you're OPSing over 1,000? I don't.
Seems kind of like bragging, if you ask me.
It's a little obnoxious.
You're good.
We get it. You have an offense.
Find a new slant, buddy.
Seriously. Bump, if you were to make your case for who should be the Mariners All-Star representative, who would you pick?
It's easy for me, and it's Cal Raleigh.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Can't fix everything for everybody, but you can be there and listen and try to help with what you can. You're there to support them, and that's the best that you can do.
It's this commitment, this philosophy that represents the LJ way.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us. My wife and 3 kids in the house, there's always something wrong with somebody at all times. And if there isn't, then something's wrong. When you have 388 employees, there's never a day that everything is good everywhere. You have to be okay with that. You have to look at that as opportunities to gain a better relationship with people and help them through what they're going through.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
It's the Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Some serious 4 days of values you'll never see again. The biggest brands with staggering prices. 4 days only, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba will host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Wage Lifestyle at Cheedy Stadium, featuring your favorite athletes and celebrities. Tickets start at just $25. Go to SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit LegacyG.com. LegacyG.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Welcome to the Safe Driving Playoffs. Today we've got Kevin facing off against his Thursday commute. He's off. There's a cyclist in the bike lane, and Kevin makes room. Incredible. Looks like there's a family at the crosswalk. He's slowing down. It's a perfect stop. Amazing technique. This community won't forget a safe driving display like that for a long time. Be like Kevin. Drive like a pro.
Brought to you by Washington Traffic Safety Commission.
It's not too late to become a 2024 Mariners season ticket member. Check out a Mariners Flex membership, a great option for fans who want the flexibility to choose their games and seats all summer long, while still enjoying the perks of being a member. With a Flex membership, you'll receive benefits like savings of 10% or more on tickets with no fees, access to exclusive pre-sales, year-round discounts at the team store and the box yard, and so much more. Go to mariners.com/flex to learn more about becoming a part of the Mariners family.
Summer is the time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Need to know.
15 minutes past every hour with Brock and Salk.
Here's what you need to know up first.
Well, as the trade deadline is now just about a month away, the Mariners need to start playing some better baseball, and that begins tonight. No easy task. Baltimore, I think, is one of the best teams in this league. They've been my pick to win the World Series really since before this year started, so that's the challenge ahead of you. They got a lot of dudes, man. Gunnar Henderson was fantastic and has been all year long. Anthony Santander, Adley Rutschman are both dudes. In fact, every regular on this team, other than Cedric Mullins, has an OPS over 700. So you know they can hit. They got some pretty good starting pitching. You're going to see Grayson Rodriguez tonight, who's very good. The one hope is to try to get to their bullpen and hope that your pitching can do what it's done against some of the better lineups, especially at home. That's the real goal this week. Meanwhile, what do you do with Mitch Garver? Is he going to be healthy enough to play? We should find out later today. If he does go to the IL, would they be ready to bring up Harry Ford? We asked Aaron Goldsmith that question.
I've been watching Harry casually from afar, like a lot of Mariners fans. I have no idea where he is at mentally and physically to handle something like that. I can speak about the organization with full certainty in this regard. They would never make a short-term decision like that would harm the long-term, right? It would not be worth calling up Harry unless you really had conviction that he could handle it.
Yeah, ask Dan Wilson about Ford and whether or not he'd be a real option. What does he do well?
And to me, he does a lot of things very, very well behind the plate. I think the biggest stride this year has come with the bat, and he swung the bat pretty well. He's very athletic in what he does. He can actually, he's a catcher that can actually run, Salk, which is,
rare.
I love that.
I ended up cutting him off and talking about Jason Kendall and other catchers that can run, but you kind of get the idea. Is that a possibility? We'll find out, I suppose, by the end of today.
Here's the second thing you need to know.
Kraken were very active in the first phase of free agency, making two big signings yesterday. First, defenseman Brandon Montour. I get that one. 7 years, $50 million roughly, and he's going to be asked to carry some of the offensive load from the blue line, especially on the power play, which is sort of his strength. He moves the puck well. He shoots very well. He's developed into a very strong physical presence. On the other hand, the question mark for me is Chandler Stevenson, who maybe a little more of a head scratcher. Again, offensive player has not exactly lit up the stat sheet, just 16 goals the last couple of seasons. Brandon Montour, excited to be in Seattle. He explains why.
You know what? There's a lot that went into it. One real reason, I felt the love. That management, that group of players, seeing how loud and how passionate that fan base has been since they've been a part of this league, and there's no reason not to be excited about being a part of that team and what they have going on. And the love, it was all about the love. They wanted me, they want me to be a big part of what they have going forward, and that just excited myself and my family.
Yeah, so it's all about the love. Actually, here's a little bit more from Brandon Montour.
What I'm talking about is... Wait, what am I talking about?
The buzz.
The buzz. And the chicks, the whatever, is an offshoot of the buzz.
Oh, sorry, that's not him. That's Jeff Beebe from Almost Famous. But they sound very similar, and they both have kind of the same train of thought, manner of speaking. When he says he's feeling the love, what I hear that is they showed me the money, which is why I've decided to sign here in Seattle.
Here's the third thing you need to know.
Well, the third thing for me has been just trying to figure out what's happened here in the NBA over the last 24 hours or so. And that is these reports out of Boston that Whit Grousbeck is planning to sell controlling interest in the Celtics. He becomes the second big-time owner in the last, 6 months or so, maybe a year, to sell a controlling interest, as Mark Cuban did that, of course, with the Mavericks. How does this relate to Seattle? Well, that's really the question, because one of the minority partners in Boston is David Bonderman, who, of course, owns the Kraken, is considered to be the most likely future potential owner for a new expansion team here in Seattle. So what does this mean for him? Maybe nothing. Maybe he's just part of the sale and he moves on and he's freed up to buy whatever expansion franchise is going to be available here in Seattle. with a little extra cash thrown in from the deal that he gets out of in Boston. Maybe it means that he's interested in buying the Celtics instead of buying the new expansion team here. Certainly a heritage brand like that, one of the biggest names in all of sports, I would think would be appealing. Or maybe it doesn't mean any of that. Here's Brian Windhorst on the decision.
What a brilliant time to sell. There is a new television deal coming, $76 billion. There is the Celtics have basically re-signed their entire team. Derek White signed today. Jason Tatum will be closely on his heels. Whoever buys this team is going to get the opportunity to win potentially multiple championships in the next 4 or 5 years, and a bulge of money out there from investors looking to invest in sports properties. It's probably, even though it's going to be hard for Rick Grusbach and Steve Pagliuca, the primary owners, I can't imagine a better time to sell the team, and I'm sure they're going to make out in a massive way when they do find a buyer.
All right, so we'll see what happens there, but I'm going to guess some of this has to do with the RSN problems and the way it's starting to affect the NBA, in addition to what it's done in Major League Baseball. That is everything you need to know, and of course, we do that quarter past every hour here on the Brock and Salk Show. Let me give you guys a couple of your texts. Good one here from the 425. It says, hey, Salk, Stevenson is a plus center for faceoffs, which has been a major problem for this team, especially on the power play. That's true. Should be an upgrade from anyone we've had there so far. Just hope he takes the pressure off Beniers to be the guy and can help guys like McCann and Burakovsky score a few more goals. Yeah, I think the first part I didn't know, and that's great information. Certainly that is something they need. A little extra help on the faceoff. Yes, that has been a problem for them. Whether or not he is a true number one center who can take some of that pressure off Beniers, that's what I think we just don't know yet, and maybe he will be, and if that's the case, love it. Love what this does for both Matty's development and for the team in general, but the numbers just don't really bear that out, at least based on what he's done the last couple of seasons or so. 4206 says, you guys need a regular hockey guy. I love Forsland, but going all in on him to give you analysis of free agent acquisitions doesn't make sense because he's part of the organization. You know what, though? I don't buy that. Forsland has been super, super open, honest, critical when it's been demanded of him. I don't know that I would say that at all. John does not just drink the Kool-Aid. He is perfectly willing to be critical when necessary. In the meantime, he did apologize. He just unfortunately was in a bad sell spot and wasn't able to jump on with us a few minutes ago. Salk, so Bonderman is the only guy that can buy this expansion team. This is no news. I didn't say he's the only guy, but he's the most likely guy, and he's the one who I think everyone believes is all set to go and make this happen, based on him already being in the NBA club of owners, which is not an easy club to get into. He's already in it. He's already been vetted. He's got the money. He is already a part of the Kraken ownership group and the ownership of the building. Like, there's a lot of reasons why he makes the most sense to put an expansion team here in Seattle. He's already got the group. Well, this may not change any of that. Again, this may be a nothing burger. This may be just a total nothing story. But we don't know yet. And when it came up yesterday, the initial reaction was great. He's out of the Celtics ownership group, so this should be easy for him to buy the new one. I don't think it's quite as simple as that, so I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Okay, we're going to do something different coming up next because I'm out for the rest of the week and take a little holiday in Bend with the family, and Brock is out. He's in Idaho. And so tomorrow we got Lefko and Brady, the Hitman coming in. The Hitman's coming in tomorrow. All right, so Lefko and Brady tomorrow. Thursday, everybody's off for the holiday. And then Friday, even though it is a company holiday, there are shows on the station, but we've decided to do a little something different. Kyle, in his infinite wisdom, has brought in the guys from the Marine Layer podcast. Now, I don't know how much you know about them or what they do, but they're a lot of fun. And one of those guys, Lyle Goldstein, is going to join us next. Stick around. You'll hear from him coming up on Brock and Salk.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays, 10 to 2.
Mariners all day.
Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here, and it is about to start getting real hot. So if you're tired of paying those high AC bills every month, it might be because your windows aren't energy efficient. And if yours are builder grade, or maybe you've had them for over 8 years, the seals are probably broken, the air's leaking out, and you're paying the price in high utility bills all year long. Window Nation's high-quality windows are built to last a whole lifetime. And right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you will get 2 of them for free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you can get even more with 0 down, no interest payments for 24 months. Great deal. Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty, and they can be installed in just 1 day or less. They were even recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of the best window installation companies, so you can trust them for high-quality, affordable windows. I'm talking about Window Nation. Call 866-90-NATION to schedule a fast in-home estimate right now, or just visit windownation.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Shannon Dreyer here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help in finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
You want to talk about this, Park? You really want to do this?
I do.
You really want to get into this?
Yeah, I got some questions.
All right. Well, I got answers.
The Brock and Salk Show is brought to you every day by Simply Seattle.
Discover the ultimate diamond buying experience. Unparalleled quality at unbeatable prices.
Hi, I'm Diamond Dave of Cantor Diamond. At our by appointment office, you'll receive truly personalized one-on-one service to your needs.
No high overhead of standalone stores or mall hours to pay for. We're direct diamond importers designing and manufacturing in-house, eliminating all the middlemen.
Stop overpaying at retail and enjoy serious savings on quality diamonds.
From the first consult to the final reveal, we guide you through every step, ensuring you get your dream diamond ring, necklace, or earrings without compromise.
Romantic proposals, anniversary splurges, or just because. Indulge in diamonds for less.
Call today for your private appointment for a dazzling diamond.
Call Diamond Dave at 253-272-7007. That's 253-272-7007. Or follow them on Instagram at Cantor Diamond. That's at Kantor Diamond.
Summer's here and it's time for you to put yourself in the game. But you don't have to do it alone. Come visit the incredible showroom and the all-star team at Toyota of Kirkland. With a large selection of over 70 brand new Tundras and Tacomas on the lot, you'll be able to test drive one and take it home the same day. And don't forget about that lifetime powertrain warranty. Now that's how you become the MVP. Come in today or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com. toyotaofkirkland.com.
Food Services, Inc. supports all uniformed personnel and healthcare providers working hard to keep us safe. These heroic men and women spend long hours away from home, protecting our freedom and providing critical medical care. Please thank them for their many sacrifices and putting their lives on the line for us every day. Happy 4th of July to you and yours from the entire team at Food Services, Inc., Washington's premier food distributors, online at foodservicesinc.com.
This is Brock and Salk.
Weekdays 6 to 10
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Yeah, this will be a little something different on Friday as we're turning to the bullpen, but in kind of a different way with Lyle Goldstein, TJ Mathewson, better known as the two halves of the Marine Layer podcast. But they're more than just a podcast. They do a whole lot more than that. They're great on Instagram, Justin. I know you know those guys a little bit and what they do and the content they put out.
You've probably seen on some of their clips floating around and not maybe put your finger on exactly who they were, but that's
so they do a bunch of different things. We'll let Lyle kind of explain some of this. We've had TJ on the show before, I think to preview an Oregon State game. So we thought we would have Lyle on today. Lyle Goldstein from Marine Layer. How are you, sir?
I'm great, although I'm kind of upset to hear Brock's not on the show today because I was going to say to him, Brock, it's nice to meet you. I'm Lyle. I was listening to some of the show yesterday. It's nice to meet you for the first time. I guess we got coffee. I know we got coffee a few years ago, but I guess that was a blip on his radar.
Yeah, well, think about how many people he's had coffee with and how little you meant to him at the time compared to how important it was to you to be having coffee with Brock Heward. And I think you get a little sense of kind of where you are versus where he is. And I will be honest, he often doesn't remember that he and I know each other. So you're not don't feel too bad about this.
No, I just figured I'd give him a hard time about that. But no, fair point. All fair points.
What tell us about Marine Layer before we talk about Friday. For those who are unfamiliar, how did you guys get started? How do you guys know each other? What was the goal when you put it together? What is the Marine Layer podcast?
Yeah, so it's been about a year and a half since we've started it, and I think the two of us really started to see how a lot of media started to trend, and a lot of people, whether we like it or not, kind of have short attention span these days. So a lot of the ways that media is consumed nowadays is through short-form content on social media. It's on podcasts. It's on YouTube, and we started to see a lot of that, and the two of us trying to weave our way through our own careers and kind of make our own path, and we said all of that compared with the love and passion the two of us have for the Mariners. We said, we talked about starting this podcast forever. Why don't we actually do it? And then we kind of set out to kind of find a vision for it. And with all that, we said, let's try to reach a lot of different people. If you're really into the numbers like we are and you want to hear a lot of the nitty-gritty baseball talk, we do that on the podcast. But if you're just a casual fan who's curious to learn a little bit more about the players or hear what fans have to say sometimes, well, follow us on social media because we do a lot of that stuff there too. And in fact, we've had a lot of people tell us, listen, we're not the biggest baseball fans in the world, but we started to get invested in some of these players because we get to see some of their personality through you guys, and we really enjoy it and we really appreciate it. So I would say we try to be a voice and an outlet for a bunch of different fans, no matter what level your Mariners fan is at. Through a year and a half, it's been great, and we're having a blast doing it.
Yeah, it's really well done, and I think what I like about it is it's very different from what we try to do here on this show on a daily basis. It's very specific content pushed towards Mariner fans. But your ability to get stuff out of the guys, baseball players are notoriously challenging to get out of their comfort zone of just giving cliche after cliche. And it seems like you guys have done a really nice job of getting those guys to actually talk.
Yeah, that part's been really fun. When we tee these guys up for questions, we always try to best find things for each specific guy that we think they would enjoy talking about, or tee them up for things that we think they're passionate about, whether it's, things we know that they're interested in, or whether it's them ranking things like, we haven't released this one, but we talked to Josh Rojas on Friday and said, rank your top 3 all-time University of Hawaii athletes. where he went to school. So something that, yeah, they don't get asked on an everyday basis, and things that they're not kind of giving the media trained answers for. It's yeah, hey, how can we let you show some personality, and how can we let the fans learn a little bit more about you? And it's kind of a fun way to do it while also not every day asking for 20 minutes of their time. It's, hey, do you have 60 seconds or 90 seconds?
So what I hear there is that you enjoy ranking things and enjoy having them rank things. Is that right?
We do. And just some of what the numbers have said about how the clips play out on social media is people like watching those things too. So I think everybody enjoys it. So we try to do a variety of different things, but we definitely like to have guys rank things.
You hear that, Maura? I hope you're listening over there. Do you hear how much people seem to like ranked? People seem to like ranking things, and they like knowing about where
He's just trying to get on your good side.
No, he's just telling you what the numbers say, which is that people enjoy ranking. Something that maybe you should remember.
I appreciate it, Lyle.
Yeah, just one of the reasons we like Lyle so much and are so happy to have him fill in on Friday. Will you guys be doing our show? Are you going to do Need to Know? Will you be ranking things at 9:45?
We're planning for it, and
ooh, exciting.
I don't want to totally give it away, but I think what we're going to do for Ranked is we're going to do our Marine Layer podcast, Baseball Commandments, which is essentially for everybody that listens to the podcast. There's a few bits and a few things that we circle back to a lot on these shows. And I think people that don't listen to us regularly might get a laugh out of it or might have some opinions about it. And people that do listen to us will probably be familiar with a lot of it.
Some baseball commandments. Can you give me a hint? Like give me one baseball commandment.
We are not the biggest fans of bunting in the world. So that may come up on Friday.
What about bunting? Now, is that just sacrifice bunting, or does that include bunting for a hit?
I mean, it's kind of all-encompassing, but yeah, sacrifice bunting more than bunting for hits. I'll say that.
What about with a man on first and second, nobody out, late in the game?
Yeah, that's not our favorite.
You don't like bunting with a man on first and second, nobody out, late in the game, like in the 10th, bottom of the 10th?
Okay, that's different because that starts with the ghost runner on second. So that's
all right. What if you hit a leadoff double in the 9th? Tie game, bottom of the 9th. You hit a leadoff double. You don't want a guy bunting after that?
I'd rather just see him swing away.
What? Are you nuts?
Yeah. Well,
See, opinions. He was right.
This is the new school baseball thinking, Salk. Like there's a lot of people like us that feel the same way, that do not like watching guys bunt.
Well, I don't like watching a bunt in the 2nd or 3rd or 5th inning either. Like, I understand the game has changed, but I think this is what has been missed by the statistical revolution, which is that there are moments to abandon it. You use it most of the time, and I'm right there with you, and I understand why they do so much of what they do, but which seems to be more likely? The ability to lay down a bunt and then hit a fly ball, or the ability to come up with a hit that is going to be deep enough to drive in a runner in today's game? I'll take the bunt and the fly ball.
How much are guys still practicing bunting these days? That's what we talk about a lot.
That's
I don't really know.
Yeah. Most of them don't practice it enough, and you're absolutely right about that part of it, but they should. They should absolutely practice it enough. They should be familiar with one small skill that's one of the easiest things to do on a baseball field, and be ready to do it in the rarer case that it actually needs to be done, needs to be executed.
I think it's harder than ever to bunt nowadays, which might seem crazy, but when guys are throwing 95-mile-an-hour sweepers or whatever, those are hard pitches to drop bunts down on, and these guys, they might not practice bunting against 95-mile-an-hour sweepers, but they do practice swinging against it. So for most of them, we're like, just let them swing. I think they've got a better chance to do damage that way. We'll get into it more Friday.
I'd be in that traject machine working on my bunting every day. That'd just be me.
That'd be really fun, actually.
Just go into the traject machine and bunt. Yeah. Like, all right, let's see what this thing looks like. Let's get after it and just work on the bunting today. All right, Lyle, we're looking forward to hearing you guys on Friday. Good luck with the debut. Let me know if you have any questions or need anything. I won't be available to come on or anything. I'm on vacation. Let's be very clear. I'm not going to help you that much. But if you need any advice, text me ahead of time, and we'll see if we can help out.
We'll do. We're looking forward to it. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. There you go. There's Lyle Goldstein. He and TJ Mathewson, the two halves of the Marine Layer podcast. And they do a really nice job. Seriously, I like what they do. Smart guys who are opinionated, who understand the game. They do a really nice job with the player interviews, and they do a good job with some of the conversation around the team as well.
Yeah,
so.
I would in the ballpark, going from the field back up to the press box with Lyle, I think more than once now. He has been stopped no fewer than 10 times. So people were like, "Hey, Marine Layer, big fan. Appreciate you guys."
That happened to me the other day when I saw him. I was standing with him, and somebody started shouting at him from the crowd about how much they like the whole Marine Layer thing. So yeah, clearly it's caught on to quite an extent, and it makes sense. They do a good job. I will also say, and this will be sort of the end of this conversation for today. Lyle's a worker. TJ is too, and he's got another job. He's down in Oregon, and so I don't get to see him nearly as often. If you go to the ballpark early, you will see Lyle there working every day. And I don't know what he gets paid or whether he gets paid or what he's doing to, whether there's money in it from the Marine Layer thing, but he's just down there working. Every day he's making relationships with players. He's getting them on. He's working on, as he just said, they have specific questions for each guy. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to ask everybody the same man on the street question today. They've kind of thought about it, and it is bespoke for each player.
Yeah,
so
the time in. Yeah.
It's really cool. I really, really admire what both of those guys have done to really build this into something. So looking forward to hearing what they do on Friday. Hopefully you guys will give them a good chance and, say mean things about them on the text.
If you need help, please let me know. I'm not available.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not available to come on, but I'm available to answer a question via text or something like that. I mean, you think I'm waking up early on my day off? No chance.
Really
I'm going to sleep as much as I possibly can, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the time floating in the Deschutes River.
Are you doing a float?
Always. That's why I go to Bend in the summer, man.
I love Bend.
Have you ever done that? We have tubes, and you get in the tube and you just float down that river.
I just sat at the river. I've never done it. I go to Bend Brewing right there at the bridge.
You got to float down the river. You get in at
paddleboard it.
What's it called? Riverside Park or something like that, and you bring a little cooler with you. And maybe some music, and you float for an hour. You go down a little bit of rapids in the middle of town. You get off at Drake Park, and then there's a bus that takes you and your raft right back up to the top, and you do it again.
That's awesome.
It couldn't be better. It is the most wonderful, relaxing summer thing to do. The river is usually warm enough. The weather there is just going to be 90 degrees there.
It's high desert.
It's high desert, man.
You got to go to the West Side Tavern then while you're there.
Is that your spot? That's your spot. Yeah.
Across the bridge.
Yeah, I'll probably take the kids there.
Yeah, kids
are
a big fan of West Side Tavern.
It's a good dive bar for the kids. That's where we should be bringing them. Thank you.
There's an ice cream place across the street.
Oh, well, then that should be fun. Then that'll probably all work out. So, anyway, looking forward to that trip, and looking forward to hearing how Lyle and TJ do while they're here. I will just mention one more time. I gave this rant very early today, so I will just mention it again for all of you out there with the 4th of July coming up. Don't bother with the homemade or the home fireworks displays. They're a waste of time. They're a waste of energy. They're a waste of time. They're not fun. They're not interesting. And maybe even more importantly than that, they're incredibly dangerous. I don't mind things that are dangerous as long as the payoff is worth it. As long as the juice is worth the squeeze.
Do the sound.
Yeah, that's it. That's not worth it. Lighting off a couple of stupid fireworks that go is not the same as going to an actual fireworks show, which will blow your mind. I love a good fireworks show. I love how the fireworks, it brings people together. It's community. It's awesome. It's a great excuse for an entire town or community to come together and watch something that's simple and get off of your phones and just stare in the air at this old technology, watching a little bit of gunpowder blow up in the middle of the air. It's amazing. Set it to music. It's even better.
It's even better.
Doing it at your house with a legitimate chance of blowing off one of your appendages, not nearly as fun nor worth it.
I would agree. For some of us, that was all we had to do growing up. So.
Well, that's fine, but most of those people don't live in the Seattle metro area.
Good point.
You got plenty of other options. I get it, Justin. If you're living out in the middle of nowhere, so be it.
Also.
But you're not. You're here. You're in Seattle.
You're never going to watch the videos of the fireworks you take.
Never, ever, ever. Why would anybody watch a video of fireworks?
No, you're not going to watch it.
Fireworks look cool in person. They're terrible on TV. They'd be even worse on your iPhone, so don't even try it. All right. Are we ready? Let's finish today off by ranking.
Got a list? Time to put it in order.
Fred Dwumfor's house. Top five meals that I have ever had.
This is Rant.
To be honest, that list was really biased.
Every morning at 9:45 on Brock and Salk.
Top 10 list. I'm not buying that.
Rant.
Let's see.
Now I just went on Florida River. That's all I can think about now.
Yeah, Texter here says the river is worth the hype, 100%. The float is worth the hype. It's true.
I love it. I was going to do Fall City this summer for sure, but I love floating rivers.
Salk's bringing a cooler for Zima. Hey, all right. I grew up in the Zima generation, I'll have you
Boris
know.
James.
Zima. Tastes like Sprite, but gross.
You remember Doc Otis?
No.
That was like the original hard lemonade.
I do remember like 1997, though, when Zima came out. Or not, or it got to be earlier than that, like 94. Big deal. Big deal.
Bottles.
All right, today we are ranking chains. I mentioned that I'm going to Bend. On one of my trips to Bend in the winter, it was suggested that we put chains on our car. We did not, and we survived, but it was a little sketchy. So today we are ranking chains, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
After you stop screaming, you'll start talking about it.
That's the old preview?
Yeah. Have you watched it?
No.
Like as an adult?
I've never seen that movie.
Man, it is really corny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did lead.
I know you don't like horror movies, so
I'm not a horror movie person at all, but there's definitely no way I would watch that one. I do love the guy in Summer School, though, who's nicknamed for the movie Chainsaw. He's pretty awesome. Let's see. We've got the Chainsmokers.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover.
I don't really
I can do
like
without them.
Chainsmokers.
I can do without them for
Yeah, I'm with you. You know who's underrated, though, we don't talk enough about is Jesus and Mary Chain.
One of those bands that takes itself pretty seriously.
A little bit. They're good. Yeah, they kind of come out of the whole new wave thing, right?
Is there another one that I'm trying to think of? Is it like there's another Mary band that I get them confused with?
Peter, Paul, and Mary?
Seven Mary 3 or something?
Mary Chapin Carpenter?
No. Seven Mary 3.
How about Unchained Melon?
Are you leaving your Luis Castillo love out of the top 3?
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Are you falling out of love?
No, it just, that song isn't quite a top 5 song. Sorry, it's a good song, just not top 5. Nor is 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, but I got me a few everything hot, skip lukewarm. Tell Shaw to bust it open, Uncle Luke gone.
I saw 2 Chainz.
More likes it.
Yeah, I know. Well, Maura doesn't get to do ranks because she's not refuses to put in the work, which is why she has to sit over there and listen to it. I saw 2 Chainz at the ESPYs post-game party. That was kind of fun.
I like 2 Chainz a lot.
Now, there's 2 Dawkins songs about chains for whatever reason. They did Unchain the Night and then also Breaking the Chains.
Breaking the chains around you. Nobody else can find you. Take a good look.
This is heavy metal.
It's like ballad metal.
Right?
Like love metal.
Dawkins super cheesy, man.
That's weird.
We got the Pretenders.
Back on the train. Back on the chain gang.
Ladies. That's a fun song. It's a nice song.
Barely know that one.
You don't really?
Yeah, I don't really.
Oh, that's a big song from the 80s. Back in the Chain Gang. We got Chains by Patty Loveless.
Yeah.
These chains, chains, shackles and chains.
Justin, you tricked me by putting this on here. Patty Loveless, I thought was going to be some sort of folk singer.
That song. Yeah. Not top 5, though. I agree.
No, not close. You got BB King, Chains and Things, UFO Chains, Morgan Wallen, Chain Smokin'.
Oh, yeah. Diana Ross. Don't break these chains.
Yes. Judas Priest did Take These Chains.
Wait, we have someone new in here.
Yeah.
Nate's training with us
Yeah.
today. I tried to explain rank to him. Would you call this more of a ranking or a list?
But we haven't gotten to the top 5 yet.
I like the list so far.
Right, these are honorable mentions.
What do you think, Maura?
We're going to get to the top 5 soon.
What about Brock's favorite chain? Power chain.
The power chain, yeah. Of course, you got the blockchain. I thought you were saying Brock's favorite. I thought it was going to be Dick Cheney.
I mean, for a chain.
Oh, my husband.
My old ball and chain.
Oh, the old ball and chain. Also, a Sublime song, Ball and Chain, which is a really good one. You got Cheney Stadium, chain letters.
Daisy chain.
Power. You mentioned the power chain. What about the? Did I say the blockchain? You got to have that as well. All right, good. Well, now I've said it twice.
Are we
it's
ready
that
for
important.
top 5?
I think we're pretty darn close. Let me just. Yep, I think we're about ready. Top 5. Number 5. We're gonna go old school for number 5 with some Aretha Franklin. Oops. Hold on. I mean, that was a pretty obvious one, right? Chain
and
of
the
Fools.
movie, the show. I think there was a lot of Chain of Fools. That's good. Deserving.
Kind of has to be in there. Number 4, Fleetwood Mac. Nobody turns that song off, right?
I don't know what my problem is. I used to not be a Fleetwood Mac song or fan up until probably the last couple of years.
Yeah, but now you're getting into your late 30s. It's coming for you.
That's what happens?
It just comes for you.
Oh.
You don't even mean to be. I was never a Fleetwood Mac fan. I laughed at the idea.
Yeah.
And then you turn 35, 38, something like that.
Dang it.
And the next thing you know, you're a Fleetwood Mac fan. You're singing it all the time. You can't help it.
Move over, Saliva.
I mean, you don't have to give up on Saliva necessarily, although you might want to.
Bandwidth is taken.
But you won't be able to. You won't be able to avoid it. It comes for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's rough. Okay, that was number 4.
That was number 4. Number 3. Actually, I heard this song early this morning on my drive to work, and this was sort of what got me thinking about chains. Talks about Social Distortion, but they're awesome.
You ever seen them?
No, I've never seen them. You?
They're touring.
Are they good live?
Yeah,
I bet they
really
are.
Good live.
You know what's a great song of theirs is Bad Luck. It's not quite as big as some of their other tunes, but really good song.
Them and Bad Religion were the two that I really liked.
21st Century Digital Boy. Is that Bad Religion?
Sounds right. Yeah, and Radio.
360 wondering, why is Mora so lame? We don't know. We're trying to figure it out. We just don't know.
360 says the reason I like Fleetwood Mac is because of the Ocean Spray guy. Is that true?
Could be.
You really think this show would be that fun without me, 360?
Might be more fun without you. We'd do a lot more
People
of this.
don't like Ranked when I don't hate on it. It's a symbiotic relationship.
They like it when we play Van Halen, though, like number 2.
I can't believe we haven't got a Rush song.
Huh?
I can't believe we haven't got a Rush song. This feels like this Chain is just there's got to be a Rush song for Chain.
Can't think of any Rush songs with Chain in it.
We got a text about it.
Oh, really?
206 says Chain Lightning.
Oh, yeah, off Presto.
Okay.
Don't
Decent. Like it?
Not a great song. It's okay. Kind of a deep cut. Chain Lightning off Presto. All right. Yeah, I probably should have put that in there. My bad.
5 says Moving the Chains. If the Hawks can actually convert.
Maybe. We'll see about that. Number 1 should be pretty obvious. It's Stone Temple Pilots. Oh, wait. It's Alice in Chains. Was that the first Alice in Chains song you ever heard?
Rock would have been so excited to mess that up.
I know.
I would have.
God, we have a lot of Alice in Chains in here.
I think we have almost the entire catalog in that.
I know. Jeez. Than in Facelift. That's really good. This might be their best song. You think I should make my family listen to like 2 hours of Alice in Chains before I have to bed today?
It's a long drive.
Hey, that'd be like 1/3 of the drive. That would be my portion. They can have the rest. All right, we'll split it evenly. Hour and a half apiece. I'll take an hour and a half of Alice in Chains.
Listen to the Black Gives Way to Blue album. That's a really good one. The
All
new
right.
one. Came
Is
out
it?
like 09. I really like it.
I believe you. I'm not doubting you. I just don't know.
Worth a listen.
All right, we gotta go.
I forgot Chain Hang Low. Sorry.
Yeah, we have that listed here. We just weren't able to.
Appreciate you, Jibs, though.
There wasn't enough of it we could play.
Thanks, Hank. Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
All right, have a great 4th, everybody. Seriously, be safe. I do recommend staying away from the fireworks at home, but if you're going to do it, please be really, really safe. They are dangerous, and every year The ER at Harborview and other places gets very, very crowded late in the evening on the 4th. So please be careful. Catch you guys when we get back on Monday. We may get finally that big guest we were talking about next week, I think. Yeah, one of the bigger guests in the history of the show could join us next week. So have fun with the crew tomorrow with Lefko and with Brady, and then the Marine Layer guys on Friday. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, the hay is in the barn. See you, everybody.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
If they want to win, the Mariners need to blank.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
You can say, for instance, trade for Luis Robert, or you could say strike out less. You could say change up their uniforms, bring in the fences, whatever it is. Turn that trident upside down. Bump, what you got?
Produce more extra base hits, please. Now, all I'm saying is just, look, man, let's get on second base a bit more, because at the clip that they're doing it just ain't going to work.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Kick off summer by checking out the incredible showroom at Toyota of Kirkland. With a wide selection of Camrys on the lot, including the brand new 2025 hybrid Camry, along with the new inventory of Tundras and Tacomas. All with a lifetime powertrain warranty, you're in for a summer to remember. The unbeatable team at Toyota of Kirkland will set up your test drive, and you can take that car home the same day. Get your summer groove on at Toyota of Kirkland or visit online at toyotaofkirkland.com.
A 4th of July without the Bud Sidewalk Sale is un-American. So here we go. Consider it our garage sale for golfers on the top brands. Unthinkable prices with exceptional value. And it all starts Thursday at Bud's.
For generations, Shane Company has had a passion for gemstones. We've worked with the same diamond sources who reserve the best rough stones just for us. Once cut and polished, we take our time to handpick the best of the best. We're known for our rainbow of colors. 16 different shades of natural sapphires. At Shane Company, we truly obsess over cutting each stone to reveal its richest color and vibrancy. And we'll continue to source the most beautiful gemstones on Earth so that you can always shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's